On News Nation, focusing on missing person cases that were not getting national attention. We are continuing that series every Thursday here on News Nation Live. And this morning, we are revisiting a case that still remains a mystery nearly 16 months later. It is the story of a young geologist named Daniel Robinson, who vanished in the Arizona desert. And in a moment, Daniel's dad, David, will be joining me live. But first, a look at Daniel's disappearance. Tonight, we start our series, Missing in America, taking you to where the people were last seen, meeting these families and bringing you their stories. And we begin tonight with Daniel Robinson.
This is the area in Buckeye where his vehicle was found. This is remote. The terrain is extremely treacherous.
Daniel Robinson was 24 when he disappeared, a geologist working his dream job in the Arizona desert. A co-worker says Robinson left his job site on the morning of June 23, 2021. His Jeep, found a month later, crashed in a desert ravine. Robinson's keys, cell phone, and wallet were still inside, his clothing in a pile just outside the vehicle. But no sign of Daniel.
I do my job and find my son. He's my son, I'm his father, and it's my job.
For nearly 16 months, David Robinson hasn't given up on that job, searching the desert and bringing in his own private investigator. They took News Nation's Nancy Liu to the crash site. The investigator says too much doesn't add up, including red paint transfer on the side of the Jeep.
The vehicle was tipped over on the passenger side, so there's no red paint in this area. So how that got there? That's why I'm saying that vehicle did not crash here. That vehicle was, its last place of rest was here, but something was going on with that vehicle.
He notes other inconsistencies in the crash report.
The vehicle had 11 additional miles on it from the time the airbags deployed. It had 46 additional ignition cycles on it after the airbags deployed.
But Buckeye police say there's no evidence of foul play and have resisted a deeper investigation. The private investigator is also no longer on the case, but Robinson has finally convinced an outside law enforcement agency to go through Daniel's computer and cell phones for any clues.
They saw some of the things that I was seeing, and they wanted to look into it themselves.
While he waits for any information, he holds vigils.
As you guys know, I've been here over a year searching for Daniel.
And has organized dozens of searches.
Still don't have the answers that we're looking for. But we thank you for coming out here. It really means a lot to us.
Covering more than 23,000 acres, using four-wheelers and on foot. On at least two separate occasions, volunteers found human remains, which turned out not to be Daniel's.
Even though we didn't find Daniel, but it gave you some relief a little. That, we was able to bring some other families some type of closure.
He raises money on GoFundMe and takes every opportunity to speak about his son's disappearance.
I'm just here to bring awareness to my son's case.
Even appearing at CrimeCon in Las Vegas. Robinson has created a robust social media presence, a sophisticated website documenting coverage of the case, and weekly live online updates. All to keep his and other cases in the spotlight.
I'm blessed that I have a small platform, especially on YouTube presence, as well as TikTok and Twitter. In that doing so, I'm able to also help other families. I had other families on my Q&A to be able to tell their stories as well.
This Army veteran with a new mission in life, one he says he'll never give up.
No matter what, we will not leave a soldier behind. My son, he's my son, and I'm definitely not leaving him behind. That's thank you.
Local police investigating continue to say they have no evidence of foul play in Daniel's disappearance. Joining me now is Daniel's dad, David Robinson. David, you and I have spoken a number of times over the last year since Daniel's disappearance. By watching this story again, finding him must be all-consuming. You changed your life, moved across the country to search.
Yes, thank you for having me on. Yes, it's been very trying for me and my family, Daniel's siblings, his mother. It's been very trying being out here trying to get the answers that we're looking for. You can imagine after a year now still searching for Daniel and not having all the answers that we're looking for is very troubling in our mental state. It's really, really hard. Struggling and working with law enforcement on the outside of Buckeye, trying to get more law enforcement more involved to a point where there's an urgency there. I'm still looking for that urgency after a year. A lot of urgency that will definitely give me more answers, but I'm still on the job. I'm still on the job, putting on my investigative hat, as well as being a father, but also being able to help others as I'm taking this journey.
David, I said a moment ago, Buckeye Police, they have a timeline on their website. They say they're still actively investigating, but there's no evidence of foul play. After all of your investigative work and being so close to this case, do you believe that?
Well, according to my investigator, I did hire a private investigator, and all the information that we gave them from tangible evidence of the red transfer paint, for instance, 11 additional miles, pressure on the windshield, the fact that we don't even know it's Daniel's clothing that's on the ground, haven't been forensically tested. Those type things will, in my opinion, based on my family knowledge of my son. I've been there from the time he was born. We have a great indication about the way Daniel thinks. So you put all that things in combination, that will suggest foul play. Against what Buckeye Police Department feel, I feel there's more to the story.
And you questioned, David, the timeline as well. What stands out to you that may be inaccurate about the timeline?
Well, one of the biggest things is the person that's last seen this person should be, that story should be vetted very well. And we later found out in my investigation, his story just didn't match the timeline. He said my son left, for instance, the well site at 9:15, but yet my son made a phone call, his final phone call to him at 9:28. Those calls and the desire my son sent a text message to ask for the location became unanswered. So again, like I said, my son called at 9:28. I'm assuming to ask for direction. So the timeline is not right. When the timeline is not right, you really have to scrutinize that story a little more.
David, this is a tough question to ask, and I'm sorry for asking it, but do you feel as though Daniel is still alive?
I have to. That's the only one that's one of the things that keep me going. Is also crucial for my family, his mother. We're people of faith. We believe in God. We believe in miracles. Though sometimes I look at everything that I have evidence-wise that would suggest other things, I still keep that hope and that faith because we don't have those answers of where Daniel's located. So I always have to keep that faith that somehow I'm going to bring my son home alive. And I really want to believe that. And I'm going to continue to believe that.
I appreciate that. And David, as we look at pictures of Daniel on the screen, there's one video that I just love where he's standing outside and snow is falling on his face. He's got this great big smile. I want you to share with people at home your son, his personality, who he is, and what you miss most about him.
Yeah, Daniel's very free-spirited. You probably can tell by the pictures. He's loved by a lot of his friends. He's a very friendly person. He loves nature. That's the reason why he's a geologist. That's why he came out to Arizona. He wants to be able to be in tune with nature. Also, he's a very family-oriented person. He definitely keeps the family together. Like I said, he shows a lot of love to his family. We love him back. One thing I miss the most for me, on my perspective, is having a conversation with my son. My son always come to me. He come to his mother. He calls all the time. We keep in contact with each other. But for me, just having that 2-hour conversation that we normally have, where he's asking questions, he's wanting to know things, he get advice, his entrepreneur spirit, what he want to do in life. He always plan things and always look on the positive light. I miss those things about my son.
And do you think about what you would say to him now if he could hear you?
Yes, of course. I've been here over a year searching for you. I'm not giving up. He's my son. I love him dearly. I'm here to fight. That's what fathers do. He know I have his back, and I'm here for him. No matter what, I'm definitely here and want to make sure I bring him back. And I'm not going to let anyone stop me. I want him to know that.
Amen. David, you have become such a powerful voice for so many other families that you have come in contact with who are also trying to find their loved ones. What has that support and getting to know these families meant for you and giving you hope in your case as well?
Yes. One thing, it's always something light at the end of the tunnel. It's definitely been a long experience. But in that experience, when you're a person that just have a missing loved one in your family, you're unaware of what other people are going through as well. I found out this is not unique to my family. There's other struggling families that don't even have a voice, So be able to talk to people all the time and hear their stories, it caused me to be passionate. I couldn't be human without answering those calls. I just want to make sure that I'm helping the other families as much as I can through my journey, doing everything I can. That's the reason why I have the Daniel Robinson Foundation. as well as other events and things I do to try to make sure I can get other people's story out there. Very passionate about that. Want to help everybody I can. It's my duty and my journey as well to be able to do that.
Well, you're a great dad and you've got a big heart, and I know you've got a big support system behind you as well. And the most important thing is keeping Daniel's story in the headlines. We're glad to partner with you as you do that, David Robinson. Thank you for giving us some time.
I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
My best to you. And if you have any information on the location of Daniel, if you have any information in this case, the Buckeye Police Department are still actively investigating. You can also go online to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is David Robinson, father of geologist Daniel C. Robinson. Just want to tell you thank you for coming in this morning. I will be talking about the timeline this morning, as well as this is hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel. Fast and prayer for Daniel is also a concept for helping other families as well. We're just not praying for Daniel. We're praying for other families as well who have missing loved ones. As you know, Daniel is America's son. Definitely things like this happens to a lot of other families. This morning, someone may be waking up with a missing loved one. It's very terrifying. So we're going to be talking about some of those things as well. So that's one of the biggest parts is to pray and wish for great blessings for those families who is going through having a missing loved one. Very difficult, very difficult. So we want to talk about those, and as well as I will be talking about the timeline that I continued from last week. If you guys came last week, I didn't do a Q&A that morning, but I did one that evening, and we discussed the timeline. So I'll be going back over the timeline so I can, for those who have not seen or even started the timeline, we'll be going back over the timeline and start adding on every week as we go. So thank you guys for joining in for this Q&A. Again, I'm David Robinson. We can go ahead and get started. Thank you.
my shelter from the storm. You keep me safe inside your wings. You are my comfort when life gets hard. You lead me to water to drink. And now I trust your gentle hand, even when I can't understand. I know your voice, I'm not afraid. Walking with me at the same pace.
When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son.
And I am still searching for him. Thank you guys for coming in this morning. I'm David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel C. Robinson. For those who don't know about my son's case, my son is a resident of a native of South Carolina. He graduated from the College of Charleston in South Carolina. Graduated College of Charleston with honors in the degree of geology. My son decided to go out to Arizona to expand his horizons, to start off his career, start off his life. He went to take a class straight out of college in Flagstaff, Arizona. Once he got there in Flagstaff, he decided to stay, like I said, into Arizona. He immediately moved to Phoenix and also landed his first job immediately with a company called Matrix New World. It's an engineering company. It's also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater. It's an engineering company that hired geologists like himself. He was hired on as a field geologist. Also, is called a hydrogeologist. Those reasons are because his jobs entails that he goes out to various well sites all across Arizona. His job is very important. They check the viability of wells. Arizona is a desert state, and his company and his job is to determine if groundwater could sustain a community. One thing about Arizona, like I said, is desert state by law. These groundwater, these wells that pull from the groundwater had to produce at least 100 years of water for that community. And his job is to determine that. Also, they test the water to make sure it's drinkable. So definitely his job is very important. On June 23rd, 2021, exactly what Daniel was doing. He was doing his job, a person who's very into his work. It's like I say, he loved geology. He loved his science. He's going to work, being very a responsible young man, starting his life and his career. Went to work, got his assignments. He had got 2 assignments that morning on June 23rd, 2021. One was at two well sites. One was at a well site that was east of the other, southeast of the other. The first well site, according to his company, that he went to check onto a well there. According to his phone, however, Daniel had took a couple of pictures of some logs, and then according to his company, he should be moving on to the next well site. According to the person who last seen my son, Daniel met him out on a shoulder of a road called Sun Valley Parkway. It's near the West Cactus Road junction. West Cactus Road is not really an actual road; it's just a junction there that leads out into the Sonoran Desert. But my son met him on the shoulder of the road, according to this one worker from another company called Weber. Separate company, separate person. They have supposedly have never met him in his life. They never met each other, but my son met him there on the side of the shoulder of the road, according to that worker. Daniel followed him into that Sonoran Desert. They went 1 mile west, 2 miles north to reach this well site. Once they arrived at the well site at 9 o'clock that morning, this worker said that he and Daniel had a conversation about the weather. A little time after that, roughly 10 minutes or so, Daniel waved off to him, and at 9:15 was gone, never to ever be seen again, you guys. As you guys know, this vehicle behind me is Daniel's vehicle. It's right there in a ravine that's roughly three or so miles away from the well site where Daniel was supposedly, allegedly last seen. It was found almost 30 days later in a 20-foot ravine lying on the side, as you guys can see behind me, as well as the clothing that was 3 feet away from the vehicle in a pile. There's a safety vest that's supposed to belong to Daniel, and as well as some boots on the scene. Also, they found his wallet with his IDs and things in that pile of clothing. And also they found his cell phone and other personal effects inside the vehicle, but there was no Daniel. Because, of course, you guys know, those who have been following the case, I have put the missing person report in on June 23rd, knowing my son. His patterns has changed. Of course, we know, a family knows, after we do all our due diligence, we know when something is wrong. Of course, I put the missing person report in, but at the same time, because of those non-actions from law enforcement, caused me to move faster to get to Arizona to rescue my son. I would have came to Arizona anyway if they couldn't find Daniel. Of course, the first thing I'm doing for almost over 2,000 miles away is to rely on law enforcement to locate Daniel. If they were to locate Daniel, I would have found out what was going on. Most likely from afar, he's okay. It would have been a need to travel. The part is, once I realized they weren't going to search for Daniel, of course, I grabbed everything without thinking. Grabbed everything I could, threw it in my vehicle, and started heading west. You guys know I ride to Arizona on June the 26th, 2021, and I have been searching for Daniel since. I have been investigating the disappearance of my son since. So, I've been doing this for a while, you guys, and I couldn't do it alone. I reached out to the community, and the community reached back. And the community is you guys who's listening to my voice right now, those who have been a part of my efforts to find my son. I'm grateful for you, each and every last one. I love you for everything you do, no matter what it is. It's just been supporting this channel to you name it. I really appreciate it. So you guys, if you're new to this channel as well, don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe button before you leave. That helps with the channel's growth. Helps me get Daniel's story out a lot farther. It helps with the algorithms to keep things rolling. So thank you again. I really appreciate it. I do want to talk about today. What I will be doing today is also fast and prayer for Daniel. Always do it every month, close to the 23rd of each month. Daniel went missing on June 23rd, 2021. So to talk about that date is to do a hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel. The hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel is every month, like I said, close to the 23rd, and the day is the 22nd of March. Of course, my Q&A is always on Wednesdays, and so whatever is closer to that Wednesday is when I do the fast and prayer for Daniel. Fast and prayer for Daniel is to ask God to help me and bless me to go in the right directions, do the right things, put me in the right angle, the places at the right time, you name it, to help me find Daniel, and also to help other families. My efforts is not just to help, not effort just to find Daniel, but also to help other families. So I really need guidance and direction on that. You guys know I've been wanting people to be here on the Q&A, for instance, to share their story. It's hard. It's hard getting people to get on, but I'm not giving up. We will have families, more families here again on the Q&A to be able to help share their story. The little platform I have is it's a platform that can help. It only takes the right person to hear another person's story, and they can get some answers. So definitely I want to do my part on that. Like I said, Daniel is America's son. This happened to a lot of families. It's just a type of shadow of things that happens in this country. So trying to do my best to do everything I can as a father, as a person, as a human being, to help other families as well as I take this journey. So again, the way I do this fast and prayer for Daniel, those who have done this with me before, if you want to join in, I really appreciate it. My team and I decided to do fast and prayer for Daniel. And what we do is I started off with a prayer here on the Q&A, and I would end the fast and prayer on Q&A prime time. And, like I said, it's a full day. Fast and prayer is a full day. However, my time on the prime time is the time. So I go ahead and do the ending part, but we can keep going or we can stop, or whatever God put on your heart, whatever you feel, that's the way we go. But definitely want to keep in mind when we do this prayer, we want to keep in mind other families as well. Because that's, like I said on the introduction, there's somebody, I'm sure right now, just finding out they have a missing loved one and they are going through a turmoil. And I'm telling you, it's not really easy. It's not really easy at all. It's very painful to try to, and frightening, to try to find your loved one and don't have a clue what's going on and trying to figure it out. So again, we're gonna pray for those as well, and then after the prayer, I'll jump into the timeline. This morning I'll be talking about the timeline again. You guys was here last week, and I started on the timeline. I will start it again for those who have not joined in with us. And so I will be starting the timeline and going through that. And so each Q&A, I'll be adding more to the timeline we can talk about. So again, if you guys have any questions, once I'm doing everything, don't forget to hit that, put the word question there before you question, the Q, capital letter Q, or some question marks as I'm coming down the comment section. Again, I'm going to go ahead and do the prayer. You guys, you can bow your head with me. You can pray with me. Thank you so much again for joining in with this hashtag fast and prayer for Daniel. Heavenly Father, I thank you, Heavenly Father, for this day, a new day, a good day. Every day that you create is good. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for being God, looking down on us, protecting us from seen and unseen dangers as we sleep, waking us up this morning. I just first want to tell you thank you. At the same time, God, thank you for the families who come along on this Q&A to hear my voice. Bless them, bless their hearts, bless their mind. Bless those who are waking up this morning, or who have woken up, or who have a missing loved one that they're looking for. Bless them, comfort their hearts and their mind, give them directions, and help them, Lord, in their journey, as well as helping me and my family in our journey to find Daniel, to bring Daniel back. Touch the person's heart who may know something, or who have heard something, can say something. Touch their heart right now, that they will open their hearts and their mind and bring show some empathy for another family, and just be able to get the boldness that they need to come clean or talk about those things that they know. So Heavenly Father, we're looking for that for many families, because there's always somebody have seen something. People don't just disappear. You know where they're at, Lord, and I ask you, Heavenly Father, to bless each and every last one of us to find our missing loved ones. Also, those, like I said, those who are listening, but everybody who have their own individual situation, bless those families as well. Those who may be sick, those who have bereavements in their families, bless them as well. Touch their heart, comfort them as well. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for all those who show love and compassion, all the many hundreds and thousands of people who show compassion and love, and for families like myself, families for other families who have gone through things in life. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for all things. Amen. So thank you, guys. I really appreciate you guys joining in on this prayer, fasting and prayer for Daniel. We will be doing this, like I said, every month. That's closer to the 23rd every month. That would be the prayer, fast and prayer for Daniel. And the fast and prayer for Daniel, again, is for all families who going through situations like this,
who are going through other situations as well. There's a lot of people in the world right now going through different things. So definitely want to keep in mind. Again, I want to tell everybody, thanks people like someone like you, also Lois, for being here. Good morning to you. I really appreciate you coming in this morning, joining in with me. Also, Aaron Chase, thank you so much. You guys, if you have any questions, what we will be doing is don't forget, please put that capital letter Q. We're a question before your questions, things like that, and we can find those. I can find those questions as I'm coming down the comment section. But I just want to say good morning to all of you. I'm just putting a few people up right now. Good morning, PM channel. A few people up right now, and I would jump into the timeline. That's one of the things I want to get into, and so I can get to your questions quick as possible. So you guys know I can be long-winded, so apologize, you guys, if I up in advance if I somehow not able to get to all of your questions this morning. If I don't get to your questions, please come back if you can to prime time Q&A prime time, and definitely good morning to you, Shauna, as well. Thanks for moderating, best friend, and also team member. Thanks so much. Good morning to you. Also, thanks for putting this up. Hashtag fast and prayer. You guys, if you want to put that on your social media accounts, that helps with the algorithms to share, the hashtag, the fast and prayer, because that's what, like I said, we're praying for many families, not just my family, but we're praying for many families. So definitely would like to be able to do that again. So I'm going to jump into the timeline, you guys. And if you could join in with me, and those who are I see you guys are joining in. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming this morning. And I'm going to start off with this right here. Okay. And let me see here. Let me take the banner off so that way we can have a little more clear. But yeah, before I take the banner off, I just want to say this real quick. Those who may have know something, have heard something, can say something. That's the number right here on the bottom of the screen. You see it also in my timeline, the 844-602-0660, 24 hours, 7 days a week, you guys. And would love to make sure that, if it give you the opportunity to say something. Is there's 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can utilize that number. There's live operators that would take your call. And like I said, you can remain anonymous. Even if you just want to talk to anyone and you say, hey, I just want to be anonymous. And at the same time, I don't want to speak to anybody. You can text the word tip to that number, the same number, 844-602-0660. And you can still remain anonymous. Like I said, the form will come up on your phone. You can fill out all the information that you have, and that will come to me as well. And if I had an investigator like I did in the past, those will go to investigators as well. So definitely anonymous tip line. I definitely want to find out what happened with my son. That would make things a lot easier. If you have anything, I don't care what it is, something small, big, and that's direct knowledge. Don't get me wrong, you guys. I get a lot of tips all the time, and those are not direct knowledge. It's just things people, which I really appreciate, you guys. However, at the same time, what I'm looking for is direct knowledge. If you have any involvement, direct knowledge to what happened to Dan, some information, and that's the kind of tip that we're looking for on this tip line. So if you can, please, you guys, utilize that tip line in that fashion. So again, the number is 844-602-0660, and thank you. Also, have you seen Geologist Daniel C Robinson? If you have, again, the tip line is right there on this flyer. This is exactly what the flyer looked like, you guys. It's minus the QR code that's sitting there on the flyer as well. But this is pretty much the flyer that I have going out all across this country. Thousands of flyers being put out across this country, and I say thanks to you guys who have been donating and helping me be able to get these flyers out by the thousands. So I really appreciate it, because all it takes that flyer to get into the right person's hand. I always use the same analogy or the same point, is that person that may have seen something that morning on June 23rd, no matter where it's out on Sun Valley Parkway area or somewhere else, may have seen Daniel, may have seen a situation, but they just so happen to have been driving off in a U-Haul truck, or driving down the road to catch an airplane because they're leaving the state, because they moved to another city, another state somewhere. They may be living in Maine or Delaware or Florida or something. And we want to make sure we reach that person. So that's the reason why I put out these thousands of flyers. People say, hey, why are you seeing flyers all over the country? Yes, because I'm trying to reach that person, or persons who may know something. And that's what the key is, you guys. You guys can help me, because all it takes is one person. One person knows one person to pass the flyer on. Hey, you heard about the story about Daniel Robinson, and it just go to the right person. So definitely, you guys can help me out with that. And the way you can is always, reach out to us. Please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. You can see the email is right. I think the email is on the flyer as well, but it's not. Please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. You can request flyers and we can send it, or you can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. There's a PDF there. You can print them out yourself, or you can join the ambassador program with me as well. So thank you, guys. I really appreciate it on that part there. And also the next thing here, but a lot of empathy. That's the one thing I want to put on the bottom. Humanity speaks out. You see on the bottom here on the timeline starting off, allow empathy and courage to be your guide. Know something, say something, and that's one thing you have to. I'm praying that God bless you or whoever may be listening to my voice and know something, to have that strength, get that strength to help bring closer for me and my family. So thank you. Also, Daniel is a graduate of the College of Charleston, South Carolina, 2019. Daniel graduated in the field of geology. He also is a founder of his fraternity there at the College of Charleston. Daniel has many friends at that school, lived the college experience. You can see how proud he is on this picture here. We was proud of him. It was a very proud day. Many pictures of Daniel on this day, but there's a lot of only certain pictures I shared with the public. You guys, you've seen them all over the place, but definitely proud moment for Daniel, proud moment for us to celebrate his graduation. This right after he graduated, came off the stage. Before we decided we all had to get together and do things for Daniel. I had my night with Daniel. You see some pictures from that with my night with Daniel after the graduation. So there's some stories with that I can tell as well that probably make you laugh, and some little fun moments of that night that I remember. And but this very proud moment, graduated with honors, like I said, very proud of Daniel on this date. Also, Daniel, like I said, you guys, he left South Carolina, went to Flagstaff to take a class right after that graduation date. He went out to Flagstaff to take a class. I don't know why they did it that way. I really don't understand sometimes those things with the college, but he had to take this class after he graduated, after he ran across the stage, take one last class, and that was I think it's for one day, if I'm not mistaken, in Flagstaff, part of his geology degree, something he had to do. When we went out there to Arizona to do that, take that class, we were thinking from our family point, that Daniel would be coming back to South Carolina to decide if he wanted to get a job, where he's going to get a job and things like that, what he wanted to do with his career. He had some things lined up. We didn't know exactly, but he did have some things lined up, which one he was going to go, what he was going to decide. Like I said, thought he was going to come back to South Carolina, but he called me and told me, hey, no, he'd say he's going to stay. He want to stay in Arizona. He loved Arizona. He really liked it already. I mean, he was in Flagstaff saying this, and he said that he was going to go out to Phoenix. He have a job already lined up. I was like, wow, that's great. From a father standpoint, those are the things that I was really hoping that he and his siblings would do. Get out of South Carolina. The world is a lot bigger than South Carolina. There's more opportunities that you can do when you put yourself out there in different places. Not saying there's nothing in South Carolina. What I'm saying, you guys, is that there's a lot of opportunity other places as well, especially in his degree of geology. You don't find anything much in geology. For instance, so one of his sisters, marine biologist. You can find some things in South Carolina being for marine biologists, and that's right there in Charleston, South Carolina, because you're dealing with marine animals, out there in the ocean. So also, California is one of the other places, for marine biologists, but you don't find too much stuff for geologists. So Arizona is the ideal place, and Daniel recognized that really quickly. He decided to stay. Like I said, he lined his job up. I didn't know at the time, but one of his friends, very good friends in college, one of the college buddies in the school, his parents owned Matrix New World. The mother exactly owned Matrix New World. So, of course, he introduced Daniel to his parents, I'm sure, and that's how he landed this job with Matrix New World, Matrix Southwest Groundwater, and they hired him on as a field geologist. Hydrogeologist is also what they call it. Daniel been working there roughly over 2 years, almost 3 years, in this company before he went missing. All right, so definitely, you see how he come to work. He wasn't come to work looking raggedy, and he take pride. They take pride into his job. Uh, he often calls me from his job, whether it's day or night. He and I will talk on the phone for 2 hours, right while he's working. So, so those are the things about Daniel when it comes to his work ethics. Like I told you guys before, when he got that job, I was worried about him coming back to South Carolina so we can help him prepare for some things. Like I said, but he got himself a little used car, and whenever that thing would break down or anything like that, he would fix it. He use those skills that I taught him as a young man, and be able to make sure that car keep going. And also, he make it to work on time, and be very responsible, take care of himself. So he did good, starting off his life really well for himself. Also, this is also June 23rd, 2021 is with the date that Daniel was missing. There's a couple things I threw up on this picture. Of course, you guys, Daniel, his mother, his love, like I said before, this is one of my favorite pictures of him and his mother together, and also when he was a little boy. That was right there on his birthday. Is one of his birthdays when he was smaller. Also, the picture of myself when I decided to go out and search for Daniel. When I first started really getting out in that desert and did some search of that desert, like really looking. And I mean, it was some long days, you guys, out there in that summer heat, 118-degree weather. And also, the other picture, of course, highlighting Daniel and his love for Arizona, his love for the rocks, his love for things Daniel, his idea of life, how he enjoys stuff. So just want to throw that out as well. But on June 23rd, 2021, Daniel was last seen off of Sun Valley Parkway, according to this one person. The indication for us that Daniel was missing started with one of Daniel's friends from the job. When I say friends from the job, from Nature's New World, him and this young man, Roger, would hang out off from the job. So, of course, they were friends. Roger from Nature's New World knocked on Daniel's sister's door to see if he was there. And like I told you guys, that was really puzzling to her because she didn't know this guy who was knocking on her door and didn't know how they knew she lived, that kind of deal. But the biggest part is for her was to hear that he was looking for Daniel. Why is this guy looking for Daniel? He explained, of course, to her that he's a coworker. He is a friend of Daniel's. Of course, she's still puzzled by that. The whole situation, of course, called me. I don't know. Like I said, you guys, I don't know if she called her mother. Her mother, their mother and I are divorced. But so I wouldn't know if she called her mother, but she did call me and told me what was going on. I could hear it in her voice. Is very distraught, just very worried. And so as a father, I had to make sure that she was okay too. And at the same time, we're going to do our due diligence, keep a calm head, and find out what's really going on. Of course, we did all our due diligence, making our phone calls, making rounds. I sent her to Dane's apartment and to see if he was there. Of course, he wasn't. We weren't getting any answers from his phone. His phone was ring, 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 and then finally go to the voicemail. Ring, ring, ring. Finally, and this is something I want to throw out really ahead, is that phone been ringing like that for a full day until almost the 24th that next morning when it finally started going straight to voicemail. Daughter called me. Of course, her dad. I put some things on here as a third person, but yes, she called me. Of course, you guys. And also, I ended up calling the Tempe Police Department. Once she went to his apartment, she saw a light on in his living room through the patio blinds in the window, and his vehicle missing. So all kind of things were coming through our heads, and also at my head. So the first thing I did is reach out to the Tempe Police Department, ask them to can they go do a welfare check, tell them what the situation was. Can they go do a welfare check? Tempe Police Department declined to do so. Because I said something about, she asked the question, did anybody see him lastly? I said, well, only thing we know so far at that point, of course, that his job said he was near some White Tank Mountains or something that day. So I don't know how that relationship was that morning that he was last seen near the White Tank Mountains, but here it was at night, near night, late evening, when I was calling the Tempe Police Department and asking them to do the welfare check. Anything could have happened. The Tempe Police Department should have seen it as he could have came back home. and we see his lights on, his car missing, and let's go in there and check and see if he's in there, make sure it's no foul play. But they, like I said, you guys, they declined to do so and sent me over to the Buckeye Police Department to put in a missing person report. Because by that time, you guys, I was also looking at the time length. Over 6 hours that Dan's been missing. That's something he would never do. Daniel would probably go do something on his own. Of course, he's a grown man. He can make decisions, do what he want to do. At the same time, he always alert us and tell us things, what's going on. So, of course, the Tempe Police Department declined the welfare check. They diverted me to the Buckeye Police Department. I did call the Buckeye Police Department to put in a missing person report. That didn't work out too well either. The Buckeye Police Department told me I had to wait extra 3 hours because I called too early based on their 12-hour report time. At the time, that's what they said. But I do know hindsight, there's no such policy that says that you have to wait 12 hours. But that's almost 3 hours time was wasted. To make a long story short, you guys, that 3 hours killed a lot of time that could have helped me find Daniel at this point. So that was the first problem. The first problem where it first started. These reluctancies to go search for somebody. Tempe reluctancy to go out and do the welfare check, and as well as the Buckeye Police Department reluctancy to take a report. So those two things was problematic at the beginning. Also, I have the Buckeye Police Department that night, of course. Like I said, called and finally was able to put that missing person report in. The first thing I'm thinking, once I'm gathering information, of course, I didn't know much when I talked to Officer Cruz. He was the first reporting officer that took Daniel's story and supposed to do his job. Of course, I was very, very, very happy with his movements. He's very courteous and as well as very helpful to try to help me gather information as well. So he and I was doing our parts of getting information from Daniel's job. One thing I learned while I was on my end doing my due diligence is that I got more information, not just the White Tank Mountains. It was also that, no, he didn't go missing, because the way Officer Cruz told me on the phone is that he was going to go ride in the area. The area means that he was riding up and down Sun Valley Parkway. Is what he told me directly. He said him and another officer would be riding up and down Sun Valley Parkway to see. He told me it's a very, very long road. I don't know anything about Arizona at the time, but they would be riding up and down Sun Valley Parkway to see if Daniel was stuck on the side of the road, his vehicle stuck, see if they could find his vehicle. But later, like I said, doing my due diligence, I found out that Daniel went missing in the desert. It was an in the desert type situation. And that's when I asked for the helicopter to go out and look. Officer Cruz told me they couldn't do so at night. It was night. They couldn't get a helicopter out there, but they can do it in the morning. Of course, that was the hardest night. Wanting them to go out and to search that desert, not just search the area, but search the desert for Daniel, and definitely go look for my son. Of course, the next morning came. I was promised by this Officer Haley again that took over for Officer Cruz that they will be doing that helicopter search. That never came. You guys, you already know that didn't come. That search didn't never come. They told me that he told me later. He told me yes at first, but later come back and told me that it was unauthorized. It was canceled because his higher ups said Daniel's a grown man. If he want to disappear on his own, he can. The assumption again is another failure from law enforcement to act, and that was also a problem. The reason why Daniel is also missing to this date is to not work fast and go search for Daniel in that desert. That was very disheartening for me. That's one of the things that caused me to move, like I told you guys, to come out to Arizona. I just lost all train of thought at the time. Just grab everything I could because I identified really quickly that law enforcement was not going to help me locate my son. So on June 24th, Buckeye Police Department, again, I said restrict the helicopter search. Also, you guys, my auntie, she called and tried to get them to do so. So whatever she said, it ended up happening on the 25th. So you guys hear me, I said on the 26th that the Buckeye Police Department did the so-called search. That's what we were told as a family. I have the officer, I went back over recordings. You guys, I told you I record everything. I went back over recordings, and Detective Biffin and some of the others admitted that there was no flight on the 25th that they have on their report. So they put that on their report, but it's not reflective on their phone call to me at 3-something in the evening when they said they was deciding if they're going to get a helicopter out for that search for Daniel. And to this day, you guys, hindsight, of course, I put a FOIA in for that information for that flight, according to Phoenix Police Department, and that detail of the that department. I'm going to say when they deal with the Firebird or the helicopter departments, I think it was part of the fire thing. They don't have no record of it. What I was told at first. Now they say they're just looking for it. That's been over 8 months now. I say it don't exist. So, of course, I don't know if this flight ever took place, but they have nothing to prove that from the end of that request. So June 26th is what I have the date, and that's the reason why this date. Buckeye reportedly uses the Phoenix Firebird helicopter. This is when they told my auntie and myself that they put a bird in the air. That's when I was just coming into Arizona. I was just coming in. I was very happy to hear that that morning. Coming into Arizona, and of course, we went on from there. Also, you guys, I just want to put in some little details in between awareness campaign. When I got on the ground, you guys, one of the couple things I was doing is, and I put these slides first. So this is kind of going to a point where I'm going to talk about it. So it's going to kind of go back when I talk about it. But this is some pictures I want to put in that one of the first things I've done is started reaching out to local radio stations. This Alvin Galloway, his radio station, he was one of the first to actually allow me to talk to Phoenix and try to get some help. So I reach out to everybody I can. People didn't know anybody, so it's a whole lot of stuff I can put out. I just wanted to put some of the ones, the specific reasons, but definitely want to say thank you to him for give me the opportunity. There's some others as well. Josh Sanders, for instance, from the local news channel. Some of those others who I was able to talk to when I was reaching out. My daughter and I was, like I said, first thing I did when I got into Arizona is to look for help. Went to look for the NW. We tried to find the NAACP, tried to find went to the Red Cross. They was closed. All this COVID thing caused a lot of not being able to contact people. We did a whole lot of scrubbing the cities. I mean, like looking at parking lots to you name it, trying to locate Daniel, do our due diligence first. While I'm on the ground, that's the first thing I'm doing. Even though I know Daniel's missing, but I still had to continue to do due diligence as well as investigating what was going on. So working with the law enforcement as I was traveling to Arizona. I mean, could y'all guys imagine on the phone while you're driving and constantly taking calls and trying to get calls and doing things to try to locate your son while you're driving? Those were the things that had to happen. So I just want to throw the slides up here. Of course, when I got to the hotel in Phoenix, this is one of the Josh Sanders is who I was speaking of. He was able to give me the first initial interviews to try to get Daniel's story out. So I say again, you guys, it's very important. If one of the first things you do is reach out to the community. I started the Please Help Find Daniel.com website. Went ahead and put that up, and this right here on this time frame, you guys, I decided I put the website up and put information up about Daniel, pictures, whatever I could. Talked on social media to try to make sure that Daniel's story is being heard. That reach out for people like you to be able to share Daniel's story, to reach out to somebody who may have seen something or heard something. So again, went out to social media for help as well. Again, doing more with other news channels as well. I think it's called ABC Friends and Family. I put ABC, but Friends and Family, what they call themselves, and one of the local news channels as well, was able to get an interview with them to try to get things rolling in Dane's behalf. Also, this right here, first thing, you guys, I started my investigation on June 28th. That's when I went to go meet Ken, the guy who last seen Daniel. This is not Ken, you guys. That's why I have on the bottom here. This person here is not Ken. This is the person who showed up in Ken's stead. I told you guys I got Ken associated, got his number, not his number, but was able to get in contact with him and meet him off of Sun Valley Parkway. That's why you see the gate behind this guy. Was actually just pulling up to my daughter and I and another person. We pull up to the gate and let Matrix New World know that was at the gate and was waiting on Mr. Elliott to come on up there to speak with him because it's already been prearranged. You guys, that's one of the first things I wanted to do when I got in Arizona, to make sure I talked to this guy. He had to look me in my eye and tell me those things that he told law enforcement that I don't really at the time, didn't make sense to me because it didn't make sense based on Dane's personality, who he is as a person, the things that he said, looking into his eyes, for instance, and all this kind of stuff. I know how Daniel is. That would, first of all, that wouldn't roll too well. You're trying to look in his eyes. I mean, how you can look in a black man's eyes in daylight and see if they dilated. Also, just some of the other things that he was saying. So, of course, first thing I want to do is talk to this guy and hear him say what I heard from law enforcement, right? Of course, when I got there, like I said, was at the gate waiting. They say he was on the way up. They reached out to him. Oh, he's on the way up to the gate. This guy showed up. Ken didn't show up. This guy showed up, came to the car. He had his white pickup truck. He took his truck, and when he pulled up, he turned it around and backed his vehicle up to the gate. That's the next picture right here. Backed it up to the gate, you guys. I got out of the vehicle. We started talking. He asked me I won't say hundreds of questions, but asked me a lot of questions, what I wanted with Ken, that type deal. It was at the time, I didn't think anything too suspicious about that because I'm trying to get information. But hindsight, those things are very suspicious. He was asking questions like what I wanted with Ken while I was there. Hey, I'm Daniel's father. I just wanted, to hear his side, hear what he can tell me what he know, that type deal. I'm there to investigate what's going on with my son's disappearance. I didn't call Ken a suspect or anything like that. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to hear the man's story. I just didn't, at the time, agree with the things that was told me. I'm like, that just don't sound like Daniel. So I just wanted to hear to make sure the officers didn't get this incorrect, what this guy was saying. But like I said, this guy, I don't know who he is, but he showed up. He tried to get me and get in that pickup truck for whatever reason to give me a ride. He told me it's about 12 or 15 miles. He gave me some big number, 20 miles, I almost want to say, to get to this well site. Crazy number. Hindsight looking at that too. That's not true. At the time, I believed him. And then he said, well, I may be exaggerating a little bit, or whatever the case may be. But anyway, the whole point is you guys see him sitting there. He's making a phone call. I said, yeah, I just wanted to speak to Ken. He said, well, I'm going to call him. So that's a picture there of him calling Ken to let him know, I guess the coast is clear, or whatever the case may be. He called him. And as soon as they started talking, you guys, I don't have a picture of that. He got back in his truck because I was standing right there near the vehicle with his door open. As they get ready to start talking, they was talking a little for a second. And he said, hold on, told Ken to hold on. He shut his door and he pulled the vehicle forward. They continued their conversation, obviously. Then he backed up to this point right here again and told me, yeah, he said he's on the way up. So that was it. And a little while later, Ken showed up. This is Ken here, showed up on the side up there with his white utility vehicle. The first thing he did when he got out, he sat there for a while. He got out. He started going to the back of his side panel of his utility truck, like he was digging there looking for something. And he just kept his hand in there, looked at me. And, my mind, being a military guy, watching your hands, like, hey, you might be trying to grab for a weapon, but I'm watching him. The way the panel looked, I couldn't see, and unless he had a gun hidden behind tools, I didn't see anything that would appear to be like a gun or something. But maybe he was trying to grab a wrench or a hammer or something. I don't know. But the thing is, after a while, he got comfortable and we started talking. You can see here his vehicle's behind him in this picture here. I was standing there. He pulled to the other side of the entranceway, and we had our conversation there. Like I told you guys, this was on June 28th. He and I talked for a while about it. He told me, exactly how law enforcement told the story. Exactly, right? And that wasn't shocking me. So of course that's gonna be believable to me at the moment. He's saying exactly how they gave me. I had a little sheet of paper right there in my hand for my own notes, what law enforcement said to remind me. Also, I had that pen in my hand to write down what he said. So I have those things to this date, you guys. I told you I record everything, take pictures, even with law enforcement. So anything they say, they can be used against them because they claim a lot of things that's not true. But the thing is, you guys, the guys, I was able to write down these notes, what he was saying, investigating my son's disappearance immediately. He gave me the same exact story, like I said. I mean, almost like it was written down, almost like he was rehearsed it or something, because it was exactly how Officer Cruz told me he said that night. Exactly. Word. Daniel was gone 9:15, blah blah blah, so on so on. All this crazy stuff he was saying. But then after a while in this conversation, of course, he kept talking about how he didn't know Daniel's mannerism. If he ought have known, I would know something wrong type deal. Then he went on to start adding more to the story. That's when the things like I knew the police would the police would come and this thing would go national. He started talking about staying left to the tracks, the tracks that was left from Dane's vehicle. Stay left so he didn't disturb it, because like he said, he knew the police were gonna come looking, and this thing will go national. That's one thing. We said that to me at the time. I'm like, what do you mean? What he's going on with this? But then he went on with him going out west. He told me he just went through the details, you guys, about going to the first gate. It came to a wooden gate. He unlocked the gate. He opened it up, and he went through that gate another mile. He got out his vehicle, walked on foot for a distance, got up on this high area, whatever, hilly area, and tried to look and see if you can see it from a distance. And then he started spraying rocks with red paint, so law enforcement can know where to come look, or something out of it. So something to that effect. So the thing is, you guys, I have all those things written and documented of things that was told to me. Of course, hearing all that kind of stuff, and also the person taking the picture, you see right here, was in earshot of all of this, and my daughter as well. And these are my witnesses to what Ken was saying at the time. And we reported those things to law enforcement. Law enforcement turned a deaf ear to those kind of changing stories. So again, a failure on law enforcement end, and a failure that caused my son to be currently missing to this date. So again, let's go back into details. On June 28th, 2021 to July 19th, 2021, the vehicle showed up. Small details. I went out to meet Ken to hear his side of his count of what happened. On the 30th of June, Buckeye Police Department brought me and my daughter out into an interrogation room. You guys, I told you before, there's only one person I know, two people I know that ever been in Buckeye's interrogation. Probably the only person brought up to the police department into an interrogation room in Daniel's case, and that's me and my daughter. Can you imagine that? Not only did they bring us in the interrogation room, they brought us in through the back door. They didn't bring us through the front of the police department, brought us in through the back door. We didn't know any better. We don't know what they was doing. They put us in the back door and took us inside the interrogation room, where they got asking us for information. Had us sit there for a while to think of anything we could think it was strange and all that with Daniel. I mean, I don't know what that was all about, but at the time we were just sitting there. I mean, that's when my daughter came up with the thing about him staring off, and all that came from us sitting there trying to come up with something that would make it seem to Daniel. You know, of course, if you sit there and think about stuff, you're coming up with something, right? Anything to you, because at that time we were just trying to find a reason ourselves why Daniel would be gone. We know that's not his character. It's not something he would do. What reasons? But we try to come up with something because we was asked to. All right. So again, Buckeye Police Department brought us into the interrogation room on July. I'm going kind of fast, you guys, because I've been through this and I want to get to your questions. I've been through this the other week. And like I said, we're going to be going back over these things every week, and I'm adding more to the timelines for you guys. Also, on July the 3rd, 2021, I started the grassroots search for Daniel, you guys, and I really appreciate it. Again, like I said, for those who reached out, I had to do a lot of research. At the same time, I was trying to get interviews going, social media, thanking you guys at night. So it was a whole big process of work. Just immediately start hitting the ground running, in a sense. I didn't know anybody, so I was able to, out of some luck or something, I had got this email from a young lady. I can't remember her name exactly, but I have her document as well, who reached out to me and introduced me to one other person who can help me out in the desert. He's lived in that area. He lived in Buckeye. He says he's out in that desert a lot, and he knew. So to make a long story, he and I was able to get together and start the search. Like I said, for Daniel, he was able to help me with the website I built a website myself, but he got to searchfordaniel.org, and we built that website to be exactly just for the search itself. He was my first coordinator at the time, knowing that desert, while I was really working really hard trying to get Daniel's story out to you guys. So, of course, also on July the 6th, the Buckeye Department, Buckeye Police Department, finally, after all the months, guys, Daniel went missing on June 23rd. Here it is, July 6th, 2021. The Buckeye Police Department finally went to do a welfare check of that apartment. And, you know, they did, for their defense, they say, hey, they sent Tempe out early on in June to do a welfare check. But like I said, that welfare check wasn't what I call a welfare check. The welfare check for Tempe did is went out into that apartment complex. I was told that the officer got out his vehicle, he or she got out of the vehicle and went to Dane's apartment outside. They never went inside the apartment, period. They on the outside, they went through the patio the same way my daughter did. Look at the patio because he's on the ground floor. Look through the patio window, glass door, where the blinds was cracked with the living room light on, and peeked in there and said, "Oh, everything looked good to me," and that was it. That was called a welfare check on the Tempe Police Department that Buckeye called after they turned me down, called to do. So I don't call that a welfare check. I just call that something that my daughter did. The same thing. Go look at his apartment. Oh, I don't see nothing here. You know, that type deal. So that's another failure to me in law enforcement, not being doing due diligence to find out what's going on. Because again, hindsight, you guys know that we know somebody's been in Daniel's apartment after his vehicle showed up. Somebody was in there looking for something, according to data that came from Daniel's electronics. So again, that's hindsight stuff now. But at the time, you know, that's like I said, those welfare checks wasn't performed correctly, and Buckeye decided to do a welfare check late, and that was late, and that was something they was asking me to do, me and my daughter, to get into Daniel's apartment. Like I told you, one also recorded as well, telling my daughter and I to break into Daniel's apartment, just don't get caught, because they wanted to get in there, right? Oh, we can't get a warrant from a judge. You guys can get in there, just break in his apartment, and just don't get caught. That's law. That's the advice meant from the Buckeye Police Department. Also, you guys, let's see here. Like I said, they did the welfare check, and the welfare check again was based on really me and my daughter getting in there. We tried with the landlords; they would not let us in. So was on the phone with the Buckeye Police Department, and he introduced himself as the officer to try to see if they'll let him in. They eventually decided, yes, we would let just law enforcement will not let the family in, but we'll let law enforcement in. But told law enforcement strict rules. They can't touch anything. They will have somebody with them. They come in. They only can have 2 officers, blah, blah, blah. So that was the deal. 2 officers. The landlords had to walk in with them, make sure law enforcement didn't touch anything. And they can take some pictures, and get out of there. So that's exactly what ended up happening. That's the welfare check that the Buckeye Police Department did on July the 6th, 2021. Also, you guys, you would think that NamUs, one of the things that Daniel would have already been on NamUs, no matter what they said on the report, that thing was not created until July the 8th. I would say that he probably wasn't put into the national database until this time. So, you know, that's one thing I was unable to actually grab hold to. But those were the things right here is on the 8th of July, well after Daniel went missing. You guys, like I said, everything was done in a very slow pace. And I showed it to you guys before to give you the indication. So I will show you on the screen of the date on this evening prime time. Also, like I said, that was the date it was created. It was on for NamUs on 7/8. But the crazy part about it, guys, no DNA samples ever offered to me and my family to do some DNA just in case they find something you know, kind of match to family for Daniel. I didn't know anything about it. You know, it's a lot of things you have to learn when you have a missing loved one. You don't come already knowing things, you learn as you go. So I had to initiate that. I called those folks and had that initiated, and was able to go to Tempe to get my DNA and also have it set up where they went in South Carolina to do that for Daniel's mother, to keep things on record for Daniel being missing. So, of course, another failure in law enforcement as well. And so I'm telling you guys these things, and you can see why I'm so angry about certain things when it comes to law enforcement and the way they were doing things. So it's not that I'm being so critical; it's the way they approach missing persons cases, and we're gonna fix that. Also, we have on July the 9th, Buckeye did a second search with Civil Air Patrol. They say they did that first one. I said on 26th. They claimed on their report say 25th, 26th. It was still after the 23rd when Daniel went missing, and that's readily admitting that there was no efforts done to find my son, and the reasons why he's still missing to this date. All right, July 9th, 2021, Buckeye did a second search with Civil Air Patrol because when I talked to Ken, you see me doing an interview with Ken, one of the things he told me that day as well, I was like, hey, look, man, but the Buckeyes say they was going to come out to do the search. They say, hey, we did this search, and this was on the 26th, you guys, like I said. Here it is 2 days after that. Hey, look, did you make a long story? I asked him first, I said, were you working here every day? Because he was there that day. He said, oh yeah, I was still working here every day since Daniel went missing. Right? Okay. All right. So I said, well, great. That means you was here when Buckeye Police Department, they told me and my family that they did the search with the Phoenix Firebird helicopter. So I said, oh great, you was here when they came searching the police department. Buckeye came out to the well and had this helicopter helicopter flying over looking for Dan. He said, yeah, I was here the whole day. I heard they're supposed to be saying they're going to do a search, but I didn't hear no helicopters or see no officers. This was from Ken's mouth. This stuff I wrote down, you guys, that he told me. And because of that, I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, so you were here. He said he was there with another guy as well. Some, I guess, guys that taking Daniel's place. He said, no, he didn't hear any helicopter so that was a lie to me. I said the police department just lied. They just told us anything. That's what I was thinking in my mind at that point. Told us anything just to make the family feel good, like they was going to look for Daniel, and they haven't. That's probably the reason why, hindsight, the date that Phoenix Firebird, the Phoenix Police Department can't find any records of that flight, right? That I put a FOIA in, like I said, almost 8 months ago now. The thing is, and still call to see if they found information yet. It started off, the first thing the Phoenix Police Department tell me, records department said, well, we don't see no record of that, but now they're starting to say, we still looking, right? So I said because it don't exist. But because of that, you guys with Ken, I called my daughter up. I say, look, I'm coming to get you. Get ready. Get up in the morning. I'm coming to get you at 3 a.m. And we're going to go up there and we're going to see if they're going to do the search. I don't believe they ever searched for Daniel at that point. So we met up. We was out there. It was dark out there in that desert on the side of the road. And when the crosses, they said it's going to, because they said it's going to be there at 6 or 6:30 at the time. And we was there early, probably like 5 or something in the morning. And we sat there, and then lo and behold, they was late because I think it was like closer to 8 o'clock or something. It was a while because it was daylight at the time. And sure enough, Detective Biffin showed up with one of the other detectives, and then all of a sudden, like 5 white pickup trucks showed up on the scene, right? Only 5 of them, and they called. There's a bunch of older guys with safety vests on. They said, hey, they're Civil Air Patrol guys. I took pictures. I have that documented as well. You guys took videos as well. Some things they put on their report. Oh, we had two airplanes. I just don't like all these lies. We had 2 aircrafts. They only had 1, first of all, because we was there videotaping and was there the whole entire time. We took one break. One break. We went up to this area called Festival to go use the restroom. Of course, I had 2 young ladies in the vehicle. Went to go use the restroom, get something to drink real quick, and came back. That's the only time we ever left, and I doubt they had a second aircraft able to do that before we got back because it was right down the road. So the thing is, but there was none of that stuff they were saying about the 2 passes and all that stuff, and there was only 1 pass, and I can go to those details. But anyway, the fact is that we did witness them having the Civil Air Patrol guys come out. But the problem with that for me was that I wanted to join the search for my son. Hey, I want to go out here with you guys. I was telling young lady they can stay out there or go ahead and go back to Arizona. Go back to Phoenix and come back and get me or whatever case may be. But I need to be out in the desert looking for Daniel. Detective Biffin didn't allow me to come in. Oh no, because matter of fact, you guys, before they even did the search, I asked, can I be a part of it? Oh, I'll let you know. Sometimes they will. I'll call the guys and let them know. They said a couple the day when he told me they was gonna have the search. But when I got on the ground, like I said, I wanted to go out there with them to make sure the search been done good, and I'm helping. They didn't want me to go in that gate, and I guess he saw it in my eyes like, oh, he might try to take this vehicle and come in here anyway. So he did. One of the detectives had one of those. That's a loss of a truck. So that means there's only 4 went down there, but they had one of them to stay back. Guys, I guess to make sure I didn't come in the gate. Stay back, and they put their vehicle horizontal on that gate to block the entrance way for me not to be able to come in. So that's fine. But the whole point is, you guys, that was something that I can say the Buckeye Police Department did on the 9th, well after Daniel went missing. Also, you guys, on July the 12th, 2021, the Buckeye Police Department put out information to the public about Daniel. Again, the failure. Those information need to go out to the public faster. You guys see I did the interviews and stuff like that. I've been moving faster to get Daniel information out to the public than the Buckeye Police Department. So those things wasn't important. I remember sitting on the phone call arguing with one of the officers because I was upset when I didn't see anything on local news, or they on their social media they used to put up these missing person flyer type deal. They didn't have done that. I was going back and forth for a couple of days with the officer that night. I can't remember his name. I think it was like Haley or something, but would not put the information out. Right, I was going back and forth, so I have those things as well. So just being able to go back and listen to these things, you guys, and add in details, it's incredible. It'll make you angry at the same time. It's incredible to see how the failures of law enforcement started. Also, again, on the July 19th, 2021, Daniel's Jeep Renegade was found in the desert by a rancher, and you guys know the story that the rancher, who was he said a generation cattle rancher. His family owned that land for family times, and he was raised in that desert. He know about those deserts, and but anyway, the whole point is he was out there on the 17th and searching for his cattle. Who comes down that same ravine right here behind me, where the vehicle's found? Come down that same ravine to get to this corral that I know hindsight now where he's talking about. To where they take those cattle to market or whatever they do to them. But the thing is, they come down to that corral and they get fed and all that kind of stuff, or whatever the case may be. But he went out there on the 17th, and the vehicle wasn't there. Not that he was looking for the vehicle, but the cattle didn't come through there, right? But the vehicle wasn't there because he said, "Hey, he came there, he didn't see the cattle." He could tell because they would be having little droppings or whatever he said. He could tell they came through already. He's a tracker. That's he said, I'm a very good tracker, whatever the case may be. And so the long story short, he came back on the 19th to see if they came through that area yet, tracking them. And lo and behold, the vehicle was there. He reported to the Buckeye Police Department and gave them license plate. And they said, yeah, 2 hours or so. We're not going to go through the story, you guys, because for lack of time, I want to get to your questions. But I will be going to details on this. I'll go back over some of this tonight and go to some details when you come back for the next Q&A. Also, when I started my searches, I put this picture up here, you guys. This is one of the guys who was also in the search with me, and he and I worked. It was just he and I. He was my coordinator at the time, and we were searching the same mine. This is the mine that you can see Buckeye Police Department did. We searched this in 2021. They waited almost 4 months after we searched this mine. And they did. I call it a photo op because this mine right here is located not far. I say if you want to put it in blocks, probably like a block and a half away from where the vehicle was found. And Buckeye claimed with the Maricopa County, they said Sheriff's Office did a detailed search of this area. Couple things I'm telling you guys: they haven't found a human skull that was close to this mine. They didn't find the cell phones that was close to that area. All those things that we found, the other human remains that was close to that area that we found on the ground with all these dolls and everything they claimed they had. So that was disappointing, but I'm saying the point is this vertical mine was really close. So we already looked at it and tried to get somebody to go in deeper into the mine. It's gonna take a lot of equipment. It ain't just like taking a camera to go down this mine. There was shafts and all kind of stuff down in that mine, and you need the proper thing. But anyway, the whole thing I was saying, you guys, they say they searched this mine. They should have done it when they was looking for Daniel, right? But they haven't. But they did it 4 months afterwards. They say, "Oh, we searched this area good. Daniel is nowhere to be seen." This is their word. So how you know Daniel wasn't out there if you didn't search this mine, right? What they said, they searched the whole area. This area, this mine is part of that area. I'm saying law enforcement, and so, but we was able to go and try to do the best we can with limited. So of course, we didn't search this mine correctly because we didn't have the equipment. I didn't have the equipment to go, and I couldn't afford to at that point to hire a company to go down into this mine. So, but they do. They have the resources to do so, and they didn't. They used some type of camera. I saw them almost like a pipe camera on a photo op. As if they was going down the mine to search. That mine is very deep. You're not going to do it with the same type of camera that we had when we did the well. You won't be able to do that. You need to get down in that well of this mine, persons wise. I'm saying people down in this mine to look. It don't work that way. So make a long story short, you guys, that's what I want to put it here is that, I did go into those areas. I was actually, it's not on this mine here. That was a horizontal mine. That's like if you go south of this mine, southeast of this mine here, that's a mine, horizontal mine. And that's that we also cleared. Small details, July the 23rd, 2021 to July the 19th, 2021. Small details, of course, July the 20th. That's when the Buckeye Police Department told me that Daniel's vehicle was found. Like I said, they waited till over 24 hours to let me know. Their reason is they didn't want to disturb my sleep. As you guys see on that picture I showed you just a while ago, do I look like I was sleeping? Do it like I would be sleeping. I spent many days and night up all day, all night. Even when they called me that morning, I was silent, groggy on that voice call. I told you guys I have everything. I sounded groggy because I was up all night. Thanking you guys, all those who were supporting. This, like I told you guys, the last thing I do at night was to answer inbox messages to people who were supporting what I was trying to do, find my son. Thank you for supporting. I appreciate you guys, that type deal. Make sure I try to get to everybody. And that's when I was able to handle that time, but just got gone so far. And that's a good thing. It's gone so far now that's hard to keep up. But I tell you what, that's a good thing. That means that a lot of you are supporting and helping help me find my son. So, of course, that's when they told me I was very angry and disappointed. But that's the date, June 20th. They told me had me come into the police department to out on the parking lot to show me those details. On the 20th, Buckeye Police Department, after they took me to show me that vehicle behind a building, you guys know the details about the officer giving me his thoughts of his theories that Daniel pretty much wanted to just be away from his family, join the monastery, become a monk, to him trying to get me to touch that vehicle for whatever reason, to show me that vehicle. But then, like I said, I was very emotional at the moment when he showed me that vehicle. I was seeing it the way it was for the first time. I don't think I could think my son got hurt and killed or something in that vehicle. And, anything happened. When I saw that vehicle, I was distraught. And that's when I got the threat of from that officer as well to have that vehicle removed out of that compound unless they're going to have it towed away and not to pay storage fees. And to back that up is also the recordings of that as well, the conversation that we had. And the thing is, the Buckeye Police Department threatened me to have those vehicles removed from that property. I asked them to hold it for 3 days. But thinking about the meeting that I was going to have, because after he told me he'll hold it for 3 days, he and I had a conversation the next day, I believe it was, and to have that meeting set up. And it all worked out in the favor. It worked out really well. And that's when I forced the Buckeye Police Department to do certain things, as you guys can see. And that was on the 22nd when the meeting took place. The 20th, 2 days later, I was meeting with Chief Hall and his whole staff, the detectives and things like that. That's when I found out the key neglects in that case, from them not doing forensics on the scene to the assumption there was no blood in the vehicle because they didn't see it with their own eyes, to them not giving me all the information they could have. Like, for instance, Chief Hall was using plural. So we took pictures. They did. I got all the pictures, but it gave me only one picture to go by at the time that I gave to the public. Try to help with my son's case. Just whole details. Saying you guys talking about the young lady. Still to this date, you guys, the other person that Daniel himself told me was in that house with them when he spent the night over that house. This person is still hidden from us, from the public, whoever she is, that was there, that was witnessing to everything that happened between him and the young lady, and somehow she escaped. Whoever she is, they hiding the fact that she exists, and she does exist. This other person. So there's a lot of things I learned in this meeting. That there's a lot of things that I don't give to the public as well. But it's a lot of things I learned, and then also the fact that from this meetings, when they after the meeting, detective asked me where I parked, told me to stay there, and he brought me everything from that scene and evidence bag marked for safekeeping. I didn't know at the time until I got my investigator, but put it in my trunk of my vehicle, take it back to the hotel, where I found out a couple days after when I hired my investigator. He told me what those markings on that bag was when they marked for safekeeping and not evidence. So it never was evidence to them. It was marked for safekeeping. You only keep evidence if you're investigating, right? So Buckeye would play these mind games and these Jedi mind tricks for the public. They told us specifically, my investigator, they wasn't investigating. They told me they had more leads to follow. He put on their social media account they had more leads to follow in Daniel's case, but they took that down once it brought to their attention that they said that. But we still have copies of that as well. But they gave up on Daniel's case. Make a long story short, marked for safekeeping. If you believe that he had a brain injury, as you said, he would have been a dangerous person. You would have been investigating, trying to find him. But no, you gave me his stuff marked for safekeeping, meaning that he's coming back for his things with the head injury, but naked in the desert in 118 degrees, somehow missing for over 30 days. And he's somehow going to come back like, nothing had happened, come back for his things. That's the Buckeyes theory and the way they approached it. Of course, problems, you guys. All right. Also, that's the neglects and stuff I learned. Like I said, there's so much details with that. 722, Buckeye gave the partial report as well in that meeting. Chief Hall was done. They was done with Dane's case in that meeting. Told us that, hey, look, told me, because I asked for the report. I said, I need a report. Then I need some report information. He said, well, we're not finished with the report, but I have Detective Biffin. When he's finished, when we finish the finalize the report, he'll give me a copy. But for now, we'll just give you a partial report. So I have a partial unredacted report, and then I have the full. When they gave it to me on a flash drive, he said, this is the full report. They're done. Basically, that was done with the case. This is the full report of Daniel's unredacted report of Daniel's case. So I was able to give my investigator all the stuff to get him the first lead start on his investigation into Daniel's disappearance. So, of course, all right, let's see who else I got here after on the 23rd, July the 23rd. I want to get those dates. I believe it was the 23rd, but it was that Saturday, right after the vehicle showed up, you guys. And it was Chief Hall and the rancher showed up at the desert search, right? I still been having my searches going on, you guys. It didn't stop. Of course, my effort for Daniel is not going to stop. I'm looking for my son desperately at this point, still in my mind, thinking I could rescue Daniel somehow. And so did also you guys who came out to the searches with me. We spent, hours, all the way to 4 o'clock in the evening at times, out there in that desert, searching and trying to rescue Daniel. And the weird part that morning, you guys heard the story before. I'm not gonna go out looking at the time. I have 30 minutes, and I want to go back over that tonight. I'll try to get through here a little faster. But those key things was Chief Hall, to me, the thing I got from Chief Hall showing up that Saturday, that he never ever showed up again, but he made sure he showed up that Saturday to sell me the story that the vehicle was there. That's how I look at it. And also that maybe somehow the cartels have gotten Daniel. And one of the things is to say that is that, it was very disrespectful. I had to put this out, is that he got the vehicle grandstanding, almost walked over me and my daughter. He recognized me because I just had a meeting with him the day before. And he spoke to, hey, how you doing, Mr. Rosen, basically that morning, good morning, whatever the case may be, but then start grandstanding, having volunteers like you
to follow him, follow us, and we walking in the behind him, a family, to follow him to see this place where the vehicle was found for the first time. I never known where this vehicle was found. They never told me. They never showed me, but they wanted to show Chief Hall wanted to show the general public before he showed the family. So Maida got out there and started talking grandstanding about the cartels, to you name it, and put me in the wrong location. Matter of fact, put me in the wrong location where the vehicle was found, pointing down the wrong ravine or whatever. So I was here, and it's going off, and until the rancher showed up. My daughter tapped me on the shoulder, say some other guy want to speak to you. The rancher showed up too. Never ever showed up again, but he showed up that morning, point down the ravine, say, hey, this, I don't know why Chief Hall saying that. This is not found there, it's found here. I don't want found, blah, blah, blah. Chief Hall heard that. He was right because the glass was on the ground, but Chief Hall heard that, turned red in the face, stopped immediately. Wherever you talk all that grandstanding, stopped immediately. Walked past us, you guys, and went back over that hill, got in his vehicle, and never, ever came back, got to the desert searches ever again to this date. But he came out there that one time. To me, after hindsight, when I went home and started thinking about it, I say, it's almost like he's trying to sell me. So he's trying to want me to know that this vehicle is found here. This vehicle is here, to place this vehicle here, and because it goes with everything else that at that point, they want to make that vehicle there for 30 days. I mean, they hard, Buckeye is hard on making this vehicle there for 30 days for whatever reason. And it's all against everything they have done from day one. They claim they did a search of the same area where this vehicle was found. They did a Civil Air Patrol search in the same area where the vehicle was found. They excluding the testimony from the rancher who said it wasn't there 3 days before. And they wanted there to the point that when my investigator found that it was a stage event and gave them the hard physical evidence of that, they went to go hire their own investigator to say, no, it was here for 30 days, and this is the reason why, they'll try to rebut all the stuff that my investigator found. So again, you guys, you got to look at it in that scope, and that's exactly the way I see it from the Buckeye Police Department. And okay. Also, we have going back. Need to go back. Also, the Chief Hall showed up told the story. Okay, and also the search, we found the human skull. And again, you guys, right there where I see, where same area. I'm saying again, the human skull is found in this area right here where this mine was located. It's the south of this mine, and it's in the general area, the same as that area where the vehicle was found. The same area that Buckeye said they utilized the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office cadaver dolls and all this stuff, and DPS and all this stuff. But yet, like I said again, you guys, the same as a failure from law enforcement on my behalf, because if you haven't found these things that we found as civilians without those specialized equipment they claim they the best and all this kind of stuff, that says a lot to me. It says to me the same analogy I keep using over and over again. You can always say you did something for the sake of it. I went to go look for that jelly. Somebody, again, I'm going to use the same analogy. You get tired of me saying it. David, can you go in that cabinet and get find this grape jelly I have in the cabinet? Yeah, sure, I can go do that. I'll go do it. And I go in and open the cabinet, and I see a whole bunch of jars and cans, all kind of stuff in this cabinet. And I open it, I look, and I'll see it, and I shut it back, and I walk off. And then he called me back and say, hey, man, did you look for that grape jelly? Yeah, I did. I searched that cabinet, and I didn't see no grape jelly. There wasn't no grape jelly there. I could literally put that on writing and say I have searched. But did I really search? No, I did not. I did not move anything around to actually go look and find that grape jelly, right? And that's the way law enforcement approached Daniel's case. If you look at how things are done, we're finding human remains, we found the human skull, and they haven't found a construction cone out there. Law enforcement, Maricopa County as well, if they said it was out there, as well as the Buckeye Police Department, haven't found a construction cone, right, to this date. And we are finding human remains, human skull, and then we find these things, they're narrowing it down to, oh, you only found 2 human remains. It started off 7. They was admitting those stuff until the case went national. Started going national, they started backing it down to 2 human remains. They couldn't deny the human skull, right? So that's some of the things that's going on in Daniel's case as well. 7/30/2021, I have received death threats. So I started receiving death threats, you guys, when
Of course, I've been very public at this point, trying to get really public, because it took like 3 months to get it to a national point. But I've been very public locally, pushing really hard, trying to get Daniel's case known across the country, right? That was my whole efforts, because my mind is, this person that knows something what happened to my son has left Arizona, and I need to reach them somehow. And that's the reason why I was pushing so hard for national status for Daniel. Also, 8/21, I did a special targeted canine search. You guys, I will show you the details of that later. I will add it to this timeline so you guys can actually read the report. I have 2 reports. There's 2 sets of canine dogs. They all alerted to the same, both sets of those canines alert to the same tree. And Buckeye Police Department, they say they use Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, didn't alert on anything. So what I'm saying again, if you listen to the rancher's story, he said it wasn't no, and I'm still looking for, I'm going to get this from Maricopa County as well, you guys. I can almost bet anything on it that the rancher is right. He said it was no cadaver dogs out there. It's one dog out there, and that was at 10 o'clock at night. The dog came out there almost half an hour, and they brought it back because they said a mountain lion was stalking it. He said, I was there. He changed the tire of the Razor. He'll tell me detailed stuff, you guys. So when Maricopa County said they're using their dogs or whatever, according to this rancher, that he had firsthand knowledge, he said that Buckeye told him as well, is that they couldn't get any dogs because their dogs during that week when Daniel went missing, they was in training. So they better hope that there's no information that there's dogs is in training, because then there's a falsifying of stuff too as well. All right, you guys. So that's one thing with the Maricopa County, and that's why I said, you guys, when I hear the Maricopa County attaching themselves to Buckeye with all the stuff, they have to be really careful, in my opinion. All right, so all right, and let's see, 8/21, I did a special targeted searches, you guys, as you see. Also, I also did a family press conference to try to help with Daniel. That's when I started getting national attention close to it, because I started getting interviews from some national audiences, and I was really grateful for that. And that was, we're not saying I'm grateful for that, because that was giving my family and I an opportunity to get Daniel's case out farther. ABC News to CNN and some of the others pick it up, and they say it was because of the Gabby Petito case, but I say it's because of the hard nights, working all night, all day, trying to get Daniel's case out there to a point where it could be picked up on a national stage, right? So it was hard. It was hard. It was very hard. You guys, family shouldn't have to go through what I had to do, because it's hard. We won't get no sleep. I'll just put it that way. You won't get sleep. I was lucky to get 30 minutes of sleep at night, but it was worth it, because Daniel's story got out to a point where people started hearing about it. One of the things is, this is Daniel's mother and his brother, his oldest brother, along with myself. His other 2 siblings are there as well. There's not in the picture. But we had the family press conference in front of the Buckeye Police Department on this date, September 26, 2021, as a cry out for justice, right? Because I have started seeing more, and it was very painful seeing more with the neglect of law enforcement. It was making me angry, things that I had to do myself, and law enforcement wasn't moving in the way they should have to find Daniel. Because if they would have, I have no doubt in my mind that Daniel would have been found a long time ago, right? Would have known exactly what happened a long time ago. But because of their actions and things like that, their non-actions, that's the reason why Daniel still remained missing. That's probably what happened to a lot of families, you guys, and that bothers them to me too, because I had to hear these family stories and the neglect that happens in cases like ours with Daniel. So anyway, was able to put this press conference. I was able to put the press conference here for the Buckeye Police Department. I was able to fly in Daniel's mother and his oldest brother, his siblings, other 2 siblings came into town, and we had this press conference in front of the Buckeye Police Department, right? This was a Saturday. And, we're sitting there, and I purposely wanted this press conference in front of their front door, on public property, but on their front door. So when they come out of the office, they couldn't hardly come out without passing us, without passing the cameras, put it in Buckeye's face. Like, y'all need to do something. You need to act. You need to put more efforts into finding my son. I need justice. I need actions, and I need it now. That was the whole theme of this whole thing. And to cry out for help from Daniel's mother. You can see their faces, very distraught, very hurt, very hurt. She came here on the ground and she was very, very emotional. That's why I'm saying, you guys, it's hard on the mother, hard on the father, hard on me too as well. But she's a mother, so you can imagine, someone that birthed a child and their child is missing. Now, I don't care how big you are and grown you think you are, you're always gonna be your mother's baby, right? So it was very hard for her. But we did this in front of the Buckeye Police Department, you guys. And I didn't know until Ms. Wood, who was also a speaker for my press conference, family press conference. And she said, I'm standing, just imagine, you guys, we're standing there, the family, we're standing there with these people behind us. And she mentions one thing. She said, they're not even open. They're not even open. And I was like, what you mean by that? I kind of turned back while she was talking. I looked. And sure enough, she's right. The Buckeye Police Department is closed on the weekend. I said, what kind of Mayberry stuff is this? I didn't even know that they was actually closed. I thought I was actually making a difference, get law enforcement to do something, unless they closed because they knew it was coming. I don't know, but at the time, no, it wasn't that, because I found out later the Buckeye Police Department actually closes their door. I have never known a police department in 2023 at this now, but in the this 2000s, to be closed, except for the Mayberry days. I've seen that on in Mayberry, but I didn't think that reality you found at the police department with the city that actually closed on the weekend. Like, I mean, that tells you a lot too. And I was like, man, that was crazy. So, make a long story short, was able to get that press conference together. More details, you guys, running out. On 8/25th, I received a tip from Idawood, California. There's a reporter there. She was working out in a remote area, desert, not desert, but a wooded area, I guess, mountainous area. She reached out to me. I was able to work with her, my investigator at the time, to follow a tip. She thought she'd seen the person that fit Daniel's description, spoke with him, was able to go follow that lead as well. Like I told you guys, thank you again. Your support, your financial support was allowing me to travel, to do things for Daniel. And I really appreciate that, guys. I would not take you for granted. I really appreciate everything you guys have been doing from day one. But everybody was able to follow this tip to California. The report, so that was a report of a sighting. There's some details in there I won't be able to put out just so much as to point that that's what she thought she see, but seeing it was I brought it to my family. At the time, it felt very credible because of some wordings that she utilized, and that was very close to our heart as a family because we're very spiritual people, and so we really was looking for this to be a good lead. Make a long story short, it didn't fan out to what we're looking for to this point, right, you guys? I'm saying there still could be something with that, but for this point, we didn't see anything that would lead us to anything at this point. Also, we did receive a tip on the 27th of August, and I received a tip from Sedona. This guy got in contact with own a record company, record shop. He said he was almost like 1,000% sure that this is Daniel, basically. And but that didn't fan out at all. This person's waited, held on to this information for over 2 weeks for whatever reason. To make a long story, we was able to travel to Sedona to follow his lead, get information and stuff. It didn't fan out as well. So that's very disappointing with this lead, right? Because of course, with the first one and this kind of make us want to hope of something that Daniel is running out there somewhere and can find him. So that was another lead. Also, on September the 7th, 2021, my investigation turned over all findings for the crime scene to Buckeye. That's when we turned off everything that we had. Me and my investigator, we talk about some stuff. We didn't trust Buckeye, I'll be honest with you. It was a lot of distrust because of the way they turned their back once we started saying things to them like, look, I used to talk to Buckeye a lot, trying to get information to them. I mean, I felt like I was working for Buckeye. Chief Hall accused me a lot of times in the letters when I was inviting
them out to my searches that they didn't do, invite them out to searches or whatever. He always include some phrase where he trying to put it out that I'm withholding evidence. And I'm like, wait a minute now, how am I withholding anything when I'm giving them everything they got? Buckeye haven't really done anything on their own. What I have been doing to give them all the information from finding human remains out in the desert. I have my website set up. That's how we get the confirmation. The way I got the numbers, you guys, it was something that we made up on my searches to come up with 7 human remains out there, people. That came from the Buckeye Police Department initially, until, like I said, Dan's case went national, and then they busted it all down to 2 or something like that, trying to make it less the numbers. And that goes along to me with that history of falsifying reports when they got caught for a crime statistic report, trying to make it lower than what it really is, the crime in Buckeye. But the thing is, they the one was validating those remains. I had to set up where the pictures come out to Buckeye. They validated if it's human remains. Like I said, if I find 3 femurs, for instance, that's 2 people, right? You just keep up with those numbers, and that's what got us up to those numbers, because we've been finding human remains. We found more animal remains, but we found a lot of human remains out there, and that's how you validate how many people. The 3 femurs, we only got 2. That means it's a second person, and then we can find another femur to go there, and you find 2 more. Then like that, and keep going. The numbers move like that. So the thing is, you guys, those things are validated by the Buckeye Police Department of human remains until those things was made national and things like that. Those numbers magically started coming down. Also, like I said, without getting off of my train of thought there, you guys, I think I kind of lost some of that train of thought. But anyway, the thing is, we turned off all the information on the Buckeye, and the relationship fell apart with the Buckeye Police Department. Once my investigator came in, he started giving them information that we have, and they didn't like it, obviously, for that reason, because it was not as pointing that the vehicle wasn't there. After we interviewed the rancher and all that kind of stuff. But eventually, I talked to the rancher already at the scene. He used to tell him some stuff. As you guys know, that day Chief Hall was there. But the thing is, once we started giving them some little information, they stopped talking to me, start having conversation with me, and that's when things start falling apart. Oh, you hold back information type deal. Like I said, I had the website set up to get them information, as well as my tip line. The tip line I showed you on the bottom of the screen, I even had Buckeye attached to that. And I thought about it, said, wait a minute, what have Buckeye done? I've been doing all this efforts and giving them all this information. They've been taking credit for it, putting in a report like they did it themselves. And even to a point, a volunteer had to come to me and say, Ms. Robinson, they was claiming the human remains. I had to call Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office and tell them it was a falsifying report. They sent me, I still got it, sent me an apology letter for contributing to Buckeye, and they had to correct and to say it was found by the volunteers, which we were. No, I'm saying there's no bragging rights and all this kind of stuff, but I'm saying I don't like the falsifications because at the point I was really angry that Buckeye wasn't doing much that they should. And so I don't want them taking credit for something that they haven't done, put no efforts into. So at the same time, you guys, I was able to get those information out to them. So they have the information. Everything we know, and y'all can find 11 additional miles. They didn't come from the Buckeye Police Department. Came from my investigator. 11 additional miles to the 46 initial cycles to the red transfer paint to whatever you find about this vehicle came from my investigator. The only thing that come from Buckeye Police Department is a rebuttal that they went out and hired their own and private PI as a rebuttal to try to place Daniel's vehicle there for 30 days. All right, even to the called hard hat. Let's not forget about this hard hat filled with rainwater. They say they're actually filled with water, in my opinion, because there's a card that's in there that didn't dissolve. If you put a business card in some water for 30 days and see what happened to it, it turned to pulp. This card was intact, like it was just put in there the date they looked at it or something. But anyway, okay. Then also on, let's see where I'm at. Okay, good. 9/16, August 16th, 2021, I interviewed the rancher at my hotel. That's where I got all this information from. It was also my investigator came in while I was interviewing him, and he's also got some information as well. So we got a lot of details from the rancher about what was found, and that's why I got all the information, you guys, about
the details of that day. Like, for instance, the first thing the rancher was really uptight about is them telling him, don't alert the family, don't alert anybody, don't tell media or the family that this vehicle is found, right? And he said that bothered him. He ended up calling back, because that was his daughter. He'll be, outraged. Anyway, especially I'm out there in the desert looking for Daniel. Yeah, they should have notified me immediately. All right. And so again, on August 26th, I had a second family press conference. I'm sorry. I had the family on 9/26. I had the second one, but this one on 26th of August, I had the family press conference you guys seen already. I spoke about also 9/28, 21. The Buckeye Police Department hired their own PI to look at the picture, look at the crime scenes from pictures. This PI, again, you guys, is a rebuttal, in my opinion, to the facts and the evidence and the hard physical evidence that's found to say there's foul play at the scene, that this is a stage event, so you name it, right? So they hired their own private investigator who have never seen. I'm gonna put this to the fact, to the T. This guy have never asked either. Never seen Daniel vehicle, never touched it, never tasted, never smelled it, never been around it, nothing. Didn't examine the clothing, didn't examine nothing on his vehicle. But then made a full report about a vehicle he never seen in his life, right? Impossible. That's not police work. That to me, I call it cover up somehow, or some type of like I said, rebuttal. That's how it feels to me, right? Because it don't make sense, right? If somebody who had never ever seen a vehicle, never ever examined the damages on the vehicle, looking at third party pictures, somebody else took that pictures. He didn't take those pictures. I don't care if it came from the police department or not. He didn't take those pictures. I've seen a lot of these pictures. These pictures were given to me. All the pictures the Chief Hall the Chief Hall say they gave to me. That's the pictures I got, right? And some of those pictures end up somehow from Miss McGrath. I was really uptight. Had pictures online where he had some of the guys, YouTubers, I want to call it, look at these pictures, and you can look at, you're right, you look at some of these pictures, different angles, it shows different things. Those are pictures, they're different from actually looking at something and taking your measurements and doing your measurements like my investigator done to measure these damages and this and that and come with the right conclusion. He said nothing about the two impressions on the windshield that he can't see. This investigator Buckeye have, that somebody was beating the windshield with some blunt object on both sides. This whole detail stuff. The fact that he's saying it's a rollover and the vehicle's not a rollover because the roof of the vehicle is intact, no scratches, it's not smashed in. I don't know if you guys ever seen any rollover vehicles out there in the public at a light, somebody flip their vehicle and roll over. Imagine this coming down a ravine, a desert ravine, and it's rolling over. Wouldn't the vehicle, the hood, the roof be smashed into the vehicle? No, it wasn't that because it wasn't a rollover. It was pushed down that ravine. So make a long story short, in my opinion, this guy was hired just to for you guys to hear a story that this vehicle was there for 30 days. They want to make it there again for 30 days for whatever reason. Also, let's see, the Buckeye Police Department hired their own investigator on October of 2021. Sits. Former search coordinator brought second person to say he last seen. And you guys heard the story. I can't go full details until the night. You guys come back to Q&A. One of the things is that guy, of course, the second person came forward, say he was a federal law enforcement officer. I kind of dismissed him when he first was brought to me because he didn't fit the police officer. Sometimes you look like your job. Some people look at me and say, man, I can tell you military, and they don't even know me. I'll be in civilian clothes or whatever. And I look at an officer. Sometimes you can look at police and you look at it like, man, you're a cop, because you start looking like your job, right? This guy, he had nothing on him that says he was any kind of officer. So I kind of threw him off at first, sent him to my investigator to vet his story. Investigator on my second press conference, family press conference, he validated the guy, told me the guy was legit. He's a federal law enforcement officer. So I believe my investigator, of course. You guys telling the public that, and until this guy started changing his story, he said he seen Danny around 1 o'clock, and then when the report came, the 800-page report, 700, 800-page report came back from California that stated the vehicle first accident happened at around 1 o'clock. This guy changed the story and said he seen Daniel around 10 that morning. Just in his story, he became a suspect to me, and also some other little details about that. But anyway, that goes with that, you guys. I wish I could get some of your questions. I'm going to try to go ahead and probably do an extra 30 minutes on this live because I see I'm at the 2-hour mark. Former search coordinator brought him to me, the second person. And that was on, say he seen Daniel on the day he went missing. 1018 Buckeye Police Department, private investigator, came with their report. They released their report to the public, put it in their police report. Here it is. Months later, they hired this guy. And the thing about it, the Buckeye Police Department didn't hire a PI for Daniel's case until after we gave him them information that shows hard physical evidence that the vehicle wasn't there for 30 days. It was a stage event. And these are the findings of foul play, right? As soon as they got that stuff, they went to go hire the investigator. They ain't embraced it. They didn't use any part of what my investigator found. They went against it. They did what they can to go against the stuff. Also, you guys, I started going out on a different campaign. Also been putting out flyers at this point. I had the flyer distribution where I go out every Saturday, people behind Walgreens to get flyers out for Daniel and other ways, you know what I'm saying? Also, but even for the Walgreens, getting flyers out for Daniel, going out to different locations as well as to a point where I end up doing the billboards. Right, the billboards are from the east of, and again, you guys, thank you guys for your support. I would not, Lamar is a company that gave me a good deal, but I would not be able to do all of this without your support, your financial support. So I really appreciate it, guys. Again, God bless you for all your efforts and help donating to my cause to try to help find Daniel. But I was able to get these billboards from the east side of Arizona, Phoenix to the west of Phoenix. So I'm laughing because, you know, you guys, when I first came to Arizona, I used to be riding down the interstate, you know, trying to get to places. I have never seen a billboard in Arizona at first. That's why I haven't had billboards in a while. And somebody brought it to my, I said, Arizona don't have any billboards. I guess I have tunnel vision when I'm driving. I haven't seen any billboards until it was just pointed out to me that there are billboards. And that's when the idea of getting these billboards came to fruition. So was able to get the billboard set up, like I said, from the east side of Phoenix to the west side of Phoenix. One that was one or two was in Phoenix itself, but it was going out towards Buckeye. So people on I-10, and that one was on I think it was I-17 or something. But where people actually see these billboards with Daniel, if somebody knows something, hears something, say something. So you guys, I really thank Lamar again for giving me a break on some of the costs as well. So again, you guys, this is some of the efforts to find Daniel. Also, November the 6th, 2021 to March the 23rd, 2022. Let's see, November the 6th, 2021, please help find Daniel. Search for Daniel led by me. Found more human remains. And I'll tell you guys, I put these dates because human remains been found all here. This is not only the time, but there's some other times where the human remains been found. But when I say more, because I think this one here was the one that frightened me before. I don't know if this one, I think it was one in January, but of that next year of 2022. But there was human remains that was so fresh, man, it really bothered me. All of them bothered me, but this one was even more scarier because it's more intact and it still had the marrow and all this kind of stuff, and it was bad. To make a long story short, it bothered me really bad. And this is the one I told you guys. They finally, I have never seen Buckeye ever made all the remains they said it's coming to pick up. This is the first time they ever made it a crime scene. And that happened because they tried to call it animal remains. I'm telling you, they was on this mission to call everything that we found out there animal remains. They even had one of my guys working with me going out saying, "Oh, a bunch of animal remains," type deal. And I have reasons for saying that too. But the thing is, you guys, that day when that happened, they called it animal remains. I got really uptight about it. My investigator as well, and they had one officer out there, Buckeye.
made a big deal about it. They ended up sending to Maricopa County to let them look at the pictures that we sent up. They claimed they received the pictures at first, Buckeye. But then we pushed their hands. They were able to put that out to the Maricopa County's medical examiner's office. We waited 3 hours and then came back. They're all human remains, right? Fresh, right? Horrible scene. And the first time I ever seen it, I was forced to make it a crime scene. The volunteers had to leave, of course. I did not leave. I was thinking, thinking worry. I was worried. I was put at that time. And they assured me they were going to let me know when they get some information, sitting on the side of the road with the detectives. And before I left that scene, you guys, it takes 40 minutes from there, from Buckeye, that part of Buckeye, to get back to Phoenix, the way I drive anyway. And it took 40 minutes to get back. Before I can even get halfway on that trip, but 20 minutes in, getting to Phoenix, before I got back to Phoenix, I'm going to say, they called me and said it wasn't Daniel. That's the Buckeye Police Department. I don't know how they able to get that information fast without going through the medical examiner's office, and it's still on the scene. But this is what they told me. They said, we know it's not Daniel because it's not a black man's bones, right? Not a black man's bones. So it's not a black man's bones. I mean, I don't know. I thought we was all human. So when I heard that, in my mind, I'm thinking like, I'm not a pathologist. I don't know things like that, but feeling wise, it didn't feel right hearing that, right? It's not a black man's bones. What you mean by that? So, but the thing is, I was able to go out and because I documented this date. You guys, I did a recording, told my investigator. I was so distraught, I didn't do the video myself. I just stood next to my investigator while he talked and did the video about the scene, this crime scene, right? And so I was able. The reason why I told him I directed my investigator and also the other volunteers guys working with me to go out and put in a social media, because I wanted to make sure that Buckeye did the right thing. They don't go out and say, make it unrelated to the search for Daniel, right? So I was able to get out of social media really quickly. And like I said, I reached out. Of course, the reporter started hit me up as soon as I got out on social media, and I told him I was able to tell him it wasn't Daniel. Well, I say the Buckeye Police Department said it wasn't Daniel that night, but then they went to go follow up. Of course, talk to Buckeye. Buckeye told them something different. They say, we don't know who it is yet. We got to get information, whatever. But they told me it was Daniel because it wasn't a black man's bones, right? So then the headline came out that this morning, human remains were found off Sun Valley Parkway, but it wasn't Daniel, right? I didn't say that, but that's what Buckeye was saying. That's what they said directly to me. It was Daniel because it's not a black man's bones. Also, you guys, I received a ransom letter emails, and I get a couple of those. I didn't put it here, but I get a lot of things like that. November 11th, 2021, the ransom emails matching writing style of a previous text and stuff that I've been getting. Threats and all kind of stuff. I reported stuff to the FBI, you guys, and like I told you before, those things don't go nowhere with Buckeye. Also, November 16th, I sent a letter to Chief Hall requesting the FBI into my son's case. You guys sent a letter. I had it on my website, asking them to the case. They told me they was going to have a case briefing. To make a long story short, he's going to reach out to the FBI. Ray was happy at the time that he said he was going to ask the FBI to come into Daniel's case, to look into the case. So, of course, happy to hear at the time. But as you guys know, what happened later on, after this so-called case briefing, that we immediately, when he told us, hey, you're going to reach out to the FBI, my attorney sent a letter the same as that date, response back the same date, to know he got it, to request that we or I be part of this case briefing. Of course, you guys know they did it behind my back, and you know the results of that. Also, they didn't want me there because I'm sure they tried to take credit for everything I've done, and also, some type deal. But anyway, November 23rd, 2021, after my letter of request, the Chief Hall did a brief FBI briefing with me, without me, in my presence. And that's when I got a follow-up on that from that meeting
from their from the Buckeye Police Department saying that the FBI said they decided not to come into Daniel's case. And the way he said exactly to me, because you, Mr. Robinson, they say you, Mr. Robinson, doing such a great job on your own, we don't have to come in. I'm doing a great job on my own. Civilian, a father who's grieving, who's in pain, trying to do everything I can, doing better than the FBI, according to the FBI, according to what Buckeye telling me. All right. Also, November 26th, another failure from law enforcement, you guys. November 26th, 2021, my investigator and I follow up with the leads in Flagstaff, Arizona. A possible sighting is at a Sprouts supermarket. I'm telling you the funny part about this part, you guys. We follow up this lead is another sighting type lead. Two people playing the instrument, and so one other person supposed to be looking like Daniel was sitting in front of the store. To make a long story short, panhandling basically. Of course, that didn't turn out. To make a long story short, disappointing. We really wanted something out of that. But the thing I'll say, the funny part about it is that Buckeye a couple months later called me and said, "Yeah, I went to his." They're telling me. I'm sure my investigator told them what we did because we share information with them. But they're telling me our own story. Telling me our own story. Yeah, we went to the Flagstaff to follow this lead of the Sprouts and blah blah blah. So I'm like, that's exactly what we told them, but they're telling me my own story. Like I'm telling you this, it's the credit thing. I'm telling you guys, and I'm like, so I didn't say anything. Let this guy talk, like, wow, here it is months later. You saying you're doing something we already took care of, and not only that, you saying it the way that we said it to them, basically. All right. Also, let's see what else I got here. 12/26, December 26th, 2021. My investigator quit working on Daniel's case. You guys know Mr. McGrath no longer works on my case. Those things happened because, as you guys know, I was really uptight. I got a call from News Nation. They work really. I give I'm really grateful for news stations like News Nation, who's been really strong on to this date. Saying check it up. Also, Dateline. Robert Dean, he reaches out to me a lot. Still, just a chat, just ordinary people, just checking to see how the case going. Everybody's going okay. Whether or not they putting Daniel's case out on their air or not, but News Nation have at this time reached out to me to do a live interview. And of course, I'm trying to make awareness of Daniel's case. I said, yeah, I'll do this live interview. Can you do it this day? So I got on the live interview, you guys, and I literally sitting here behind this same computer, and I get on live TV. I get some things that on the screen says the PI talk about possible PCP or something or other. I can't remember. It's something to that effect. And I'm looking on the screen because I'm behind on the virtual screen. Like what's going on? What are you talking about PCP? Okay. All right. So when it came on the interview, said Mr. McGrath basically said that it's possible. He's looking at a theory, or whether it was a theory of Daniel getting some PCPs laced marijuana. And, on live TV, my reaction to that, because you know what? I had to think on my toes a lot, and I hate to have to think of your toes, you guys, because first of all, with me, of course, I had to be a little biased because Daniel's my son. I know my son. I've been around him all his life, of course. I'm going to protect him, defend his honor and his integrity. And I can tell you guys straight up, Daniel smoked weed. He does it as a recreation, just like some people have their beer at the end of the day. And, whatever the case may be. I'm a parent. Of course, I'm going to be a little, but I can't say what a person won't do and they can't do. But to hear something like that on live TV at the moment, I had to think really quick, you guys, because to hear something like that from, they saying, my investigator, guy that I hired, that guy I'm paying, right? Saying something like this, and just even putting that in the air, right? Immediately when I heard that, it was a problem for me quickly in my mind, right? So I had to think on my toes, and I, pretty much I said something to the fact that I can't remember verbatim, but it was to the fact of look, a lot of people have theories out there. Not theories are theories, but theories are not facts, right? So, and if anybody know what theories are we have the Great Bang Theory, how the Earth was formed, right? It ain't a fact. Nobody was here to see that how the Earth is formed. That's the science way of saying it's a theory. It's a theory. It's not. In other words, not facts. So the thing is, a theory is a theory, is a thought with how this may have happened or whatever the case may be, different ways, right? And so he put out a theory about PCP, and so that's exactly pretty much I was saying on live. Like, look, after this many months, going on this length of time, a lot of people have theories about what happened to my son. I have theories, a lot of people have theories, but we got to have the facts, right? So that outraged me. Make a long story, you guys, it really made me outraged because when I got off that interview, first of all, I've been put in the spot to answer something I didn't hear nothing about for the first time. And the other part is, if you're going to do something like that as an investigator, when you talk to your client or person you working for, whatever case may be first, if you have a theory that you want to look into, that type deal. So, but I started seeing that Mr. McGrath was going rogue on this interview. He was doing these interviews with Court TV they had to look around. He was doing some interviews that I didn't even know about, and he's working for me. So to make a long story short, you guys, it was a problem with that interview. And I was like, man, so I called him up, outraged. Like, what did you talk about this PCP stuff? First of all, we already been through Dane's vehicle, not found a roach in his vehicle. When I say roach, I ain't talking about no bugs, you guys. You guys who smoke weed, you know what I'm talking about. You haven't found anything paraphernalia to anything, even indicating to Daniel ever smoking marijuana in his vehicle. And this came straight from Mr. McGrath to me when he examined that vehicle, as well as Buckeye, who said they looked in the vehicle. There was nothing drug related in that vehicle, first of all, right? Dane's a responsible guy. Yeah, he might smoke weed in his own time or whatever, but he's not coming to work, smoking in his vehicle, going to work, and whatever the case may be. So his theory was something like, oh, he probably smoked some by accident. Somebody laced this weed with marijuana going to work. I mean, but this man went to 2 well sites. Went to the first one, did okay, and supposedly, and then come to the second one, supposedly, right? But anyway, this crazy theory. I said, Mr. McGrath, this is theories. You don't put theories out to the public. If you got a theory, you come to me and you look into those theories and see if those theories fans out, right? That's the proper way of doing things. You don't go out on news and throw your theories out, because when investigators say something, people take it as, they don't hear theory, they hear, oh, the investigator said this. And that's exactly how News Nation put it out in the public. So I told him, I said, you know what? And that was right on this date, you guys. I was back at home. And the crazy part about it, you guys, I didn't want to come to South Carolina. I didn't want to go there because I wanted to be in Arizona fighting for Daniel at all costs. But I was talking to, even by him and some other people, my family as well, to go home for this Christmas break, to spend time with the family, which I was. Spent the Christmas break, and it was on the 26th, the day after. I had to do this interview, and I got off, like I said, from now on, I say this date, November 26th, 2021, I don't need you to do any more interviews. I will do interviews, and you just focus on investigating Daniel's case. He said, well, as of November 26th, 2021, I'm no longer your investigator. That's how that ended. I had to get on the flight, you guys. I'll be honest with you. He was holding for a guy that did that at that moment. It was very devastating to me. First of all, I look at him as a friend. Did very good on Daniel's case, in my opinion. Finding information, did the job very well, and that was very disappointing. It was very hurtful, and I was with my family. I was regretting, believe it or not, with my family, but I was regretting that I was out of Arizona at that moment. I literally took money and got the next flight and made it to Arizona, to my 1-bedroom apartment that I was at the time. And the next morning I was in his office to gather Daniel's things. So and that's the end of that. That's the end of that. So that was a very hurtful moment to not have I had one investigator after that, you guys, but there was a different type of investigator. This investigator helped me. He was from Washington State, but he was able to help me investigate myself, give me all his tools and methods And for me to, he said, you don't need to hire any more investigators. Just you can do those things yourself, because investigators are just a glorified civilian. They don't have a certain powers. You know, they may have experience, and that's it. But they don't have no special powers. They don't have no penal power or this or that, and they go interrogate somebody and all this. No, you know, sometimes you can be wasting your money. So, but anyway, all right. Let me see what I got here. Let's see. Blah 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 blah. Make sure I don't miss anything, you guys. Oh, okay. That's February the 23rd on 2022. My teammate and I attended the Buckeye City Council meeting. You know, Larnell, we went there first to show face. The show face, that was the first one to say, hey, we're here. You know, to, because Buckeye at this point, city managers to the mayor, finding human remains in their city. I mean, just bringing closure for other families, to searches every week, hundreds of their citizens and everybody in Arizona from all the place, and not one time did the city managers, the mayor, the city council in Buckeye, none of them reach out to say anything to me from day one. No condolences, no, you know, anything, right? Not a peep from them. So I do want to make sure, which I already know, if you're a mayor of a city, at least I hope if you're a mayor of a city, you know what's going on in your city. To say, hey, look, you ain't gonna just ignore me. I'm just here, right? Let them know I'm not going anywhere. So that's where we went there to show our face. And then, of course, the second city council meeting, I was able to speak. March the 15th, 2022, sent a letter out to the city of Buckeye, city council on Dane's case. And that was the second letter, no response. And that's the way they operate in Buckeye. So like Mario Angelo say, you believe, or they show you who they are, believe them. And I believe Buckeye city council, the mayor, and all the whole city managers, I believe them. They are the kind of people who don't have empathies, don't care. They show who they are, and you got to believe them. They hire they're keeping on a chief who got suspended for falsifying crime statistics I mean, you name it, and it made it kind of almost promote him and then bring him back into the chief position. So it shows a lot, the city managers and all that kind of stuff. A guy a chief who had outside businesses that was illegal for him to be holding side business in his capacity as a chief. So I'm just saying, all the stuff you guys shouldn't be tolerated if you're so-called a good department, you're a good police department, or a good mayor, or whatever case may be. It just shows a lot of corruption to me, and willingness to accept corruption. Kind of like visual. We had a kind of like visual on March 12th, you guys, the effort to bring awareness to Daniel's case. I wanted that because, talk about Daniel, and also to talk about the fact that Daniel, this is where the thing came with, I say Daniel is America's son, meaning that it happens to a lot of families, and want to kind of highlight that. So that's the reason why we created the kind of like visual, my team and I, and, put this together for not just Daniel's case, my family's case, but also for other people's families as well. So that was it right there in the city line, House of Senate line in Arizona State Capitol. You guys, you probably remember those who came out. I really appreciate you guys that came out to the candidate visual, and been a part of that, shared that time with us. All right, you guys, that's it for me this morning. I have 10 minutes. I've been going through this thing kind of slow. But I just want to tell you again, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm trying to see if I have any questions that I can grab real quick before I say the end, because I'll be getting off here in a minute. But thank you so much, you guys. And I have one for T and Wildflower. Thank you, T and Wildflower, for first of all being here and being a part of this Q&A. Why did Daniel's job say that they last heard from him at 8 a.m.? And that's the thing. That's what he told my daughter. They last heard him at 8. Now I even have that on voicemail. I mean, our talks. They kept saying 8 o'clock, but then Ken saying 9. So I mean, and around 8 something is when the last time Daniel tried to reach out to him about directions, and also he get this voicemail saying that he was telling Daniel not to show up there or something. I don't know. But anyway, the whole point is that was an 8 o'clock hour, but according to Ken, it was 9 o'clock when they arrived at the well site. So it's so much to that story. I don't know why they're saying that too. Deep dive into that as well. Did he have contact with someone from the job that morning, or was it only missed calls, phone tags, and that morning? But you know what? They could be talking about that because there was some phone calls between him and some people from Matrix, 2 guys from Matrix, and but it was missed call. Like they called Daniel, or Daniel called them, and then they kept going back and forth type deal. I don't know what it was, but Daniel was calling them back, and it was kind of back. So they did have some conversation. There was a voicemail as well around the 8 o'clock hour. Let me see any more questions. Thank you, Clumsy. The question is, has anything new been revealed or found out since the new cell phone data? If you already answered, I apologize. I've been gone for 2 weeks, but I'm happy to be back. Thank you so much, Clumsy, for being here. I really appreciate it. One thing I can't say, if you haven't known already, but the information got back from the cell phone, Tempe Electronics. Tempe did another forensics on the electronics, right, the cell phone as well. And the thing was, that came back from his personal computer at home. Daniel, somebody was tampering with Daniel's computer after the vehicle showed up out there in that desert. And also, that's coupled with the fact that my investigator, before the vehicle showed up, or was it after the vehicle showed up? I'm sorry. Also, when he was able to get access to that apartment, the evidence that he could gather was that somebody was looking for something. So it kind of goes; those two go kind of hand in hand. Put that somebody was looking for something that we were suspecting, but we didn't suspect any break. Like somebody had a key, for instance. So it was like, we don't know if it was Daniel before he left, he went missing, or after, but it was no forced entry. But somebody was looking for something. He had those evidence of that. But then hindsight, now that we got the forensics back from Tempe with the person's computer saying that somebody was looking for something after that as well on the computer, messing with the computer itself, we'll put those two together. Let's say somebody after the vehicle showed up was in Daniel's apartment, looking for something, and also on his computer. All right. I see this comment here. I just want to put up and see what this is. Often in law enforcement claim people wanted to go missing. He said it is rarely the case. Law enforcement almost always say this. Okay, he said, listen to a forensic psychologist once talk about how often law enforcement claim people wanted to go missing. And, and that's the thing. And they say that, a lot, or they'll run away and things like that. So, you'll hear a lot of that, Sarah. Thanks so much for being here. Also, Anissa, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate you. As always, you and your husband, prayer and fast for Daniel. Please help find that. Hashtag please help find Daniel. And thank you so much for your efforts, because you've done a lot and you're doing a lot. And I really appreciate that, of getting that information out to the public. And all of you guys who've been sharing Daniel's story, getting so much out. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Shauna, for putting this information as well. For those who are not on the YouTube side, you can see those. Has anyone made wristbands for finding Daniel? No, we have yard signs and things like that. We did. Dog Defender had T-shirts that the team and I we utilized. I didn't have any made for the general public. We have car magnets for the car doors and things like that. But the general public, putting it out, no, I did not make it where you can buy them or things like that. That's something I would, consider some of those things as well. So thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Good morning to you, Mr. Farmer. Thanks so much for being here, being a friend and also team member. And thank you for everything you do. Also, Team Wildflower, I'm trying to get couple questions. You guys have a few seconds, minutes left, like 2 or 3 or whatever it is. Does that guy work with Ken? Why was he out there? And that's why I'm thinking he's the guy that replaced Daniel once Daniel went missing. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know, he's from Matrix New World or where he's from. I didn't ask. The guy didn't even tell me his name, I don't think. He just asked me a whole bunch of questions, what I wanted with Ken, and why I wanted to speak to him and that kind of deal, and then try to offer to take me to the well site, which in his opinion, his saying was like 20, 30 miles away or whatever the case may be, the distance away. All right. When you met with Ken, did you know you were coming? Did he know you was coming that day? Yes. Yes. I don't know Ken. I didn't know his number or anything about him. All that I knew was what the law enforcement told me at the time. I reached out to Daniel's job. They knew who he was, of course, and told me he worked for a company called Weber. And I said, hey, I need to talk to him. They said they gave information that he was actually out there that well. And I said, well, I want to meet with him, let him know I want to come out there and talk to him. So they contacted. So it was almost like a transaction between Daniel's job and Ken to be able to coordinate him coming out to that roadway. Right. I still didn't have his number. So we met the Ken. Did he know you coming that day? Yes. Was the man that was vetting you vetting you in a work truck? That guy, he was I don't know if that's his work truck or not. I would think so. How nasty it was on the inside. He probably was using it as a work truck, but yeah, that pickup truck. I wonder if Ken or the job normally have some type of security when they are out there, and they don't. They don't. That's some of the things that my auntie talked to Dan's job about, them being a little more secure and have security. Did you ask Buckeye to find out? Thank you, Shauna. Did you ask Buckeye Police Department to find out who that man is and connection with Ken? No, I did not. I could see if Matrix New World did. It never. I never came to my. I did mention that to my investigator at the time. So there's a lot of things. Again, you guys, I was hoping Mr. McGrath had looked into, and he said, I interviewed, for instance, the young lady or he talked to Ken himself. So some things like that. The information I had given to him, I'm busy on my end doing my investigation. It's a couple parts of my investigation. Allowed Mr. McGrath to do his. Of course, that didn't stop me from doing mine. But at the same time, I'm trying to juggle that as well as getting flyers out to, you name it. And you know this, Sean, as well. The reason why you guys, was able to put the team together to help me out, because I was doing all this on my own. Investigating, getting information out by flyers, distribution, and to you name it. And also doing all these interviews and trying to follow leads and all kind of stuff, all at the same time. So yeah, some things end up getting missed. So, all right, I have Kathy. Thanks so much. What reason did Ken give regarding Daniel not needing to go to the well site? Why did he call him to tell him not to go? According to his voicemail, it's because some fueling issues. He no need to come out here because he had to wait. In other words, he can't do no work, I guess, till the fuel truck show up. Clumsy, thanks so much for the question. Did any law enforcement from the area help out or volunteer to search for Daniel at all during your last search? Well, my last search on the Buckeye Police, the last search I just had recently on the 25th of Februare. I reached out to all the law enforcement agencies, whether it's Maricopa County. These are the main ones. I reached out to even some in South Carolina. But mainly the people that I was looking at mostly was the Buckeye Police Department, of course, even them, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and Tempe. Those are the main characters for me, and also the Phoenix Police Department. Those are the main characters. The only person responded to my request was the Tempe Police Department. Sent me a direct letter saying they was going to come out. And to make a long story short, the day of, they came up with, but they had an excuse of some tire issue. We're 5 minutes away, and they didn't show up, right? But the Buckeye Police Department sent, I think it was 3 officers. I don't know what their purpose were. They were there. They didn't sign in like they're supposed to. And the reason why I didn't mention when you asked that question, I told the team I purposely not mention the Buckeye because I'm so tired of having something negative to say about law enforcement, because I've tried my best to find positive, and they make it so hard to do so. They really make it hard, boy, I ain't gonna lie. And to say something positive and really, really seriously. And so I chose to ignore what happened that day. I felt so bad because volunteers were coming to me dissatisfied with Buckeye that day. It's almost like they had their hands in their pocket. The little 3 officers they sent, I think it was 3 of them, and their hands in their pocket. And I think it was more so to say, we're here, but we ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I'm saying? In other words, they didn't bring any equipments to. I mean, they always bring the same little razor they like to bring when I ask them to do anything in the desert. But they had no equipment to, nothing to contribute to search for Daniel that day to help out. What we end up finding out, we have found some human remains, and you'll think that them being law enforcement, they would come out to help identify those remains. They have radio. We told what radio, what frequency on, what it comes with the FRS radio parts. Reach out to these guys. They wouldn't so much as come to see, verify those human remains that we found out there. Also, they huddle in their little group and sitting in the Hassanapa River. I call it cupcaking. They're sitting there cupcaking, laughing and jiving with each other. Cupcaking, right? Having a good time with each other while volunteers on the ground trying to do a search. So yeah, it was something that I didn't want to, I wanted to ignore because I didn't just want to say. So I'd rather say nothing about them as if they didn't show up out there than just say something I have to really say about what the actions were when they were there. So thank you guys for all the fast and prayer, had the hashtags and everything. I really appreciate everybody who came out to this Q&A this morning to join it with me. And thanks so much for your questions. I'm over the 2-hour mark, way over the 2-hour mark. But thank you so much for that. You guys have any more questions, please bring those questions this evening Q&A. Prime time, I have one for Karita. Thank you, Karita, for everything. And you know what? I want to thank you so much for that message you sent as well. But thank you so much for the yard signs. And you guys saw the yard signs, Karita. I hope you're okay with this, but thank you so much for getting those yard signs. I was just speaking about the yard signs and some other things we do to get awareness for Daniel. And thank you for that idea and actually getting those yard signs created and stuff. So thank you so much. Can you post this timeline on the page so we can share? Yes, I can. I can do that as well. I will make some PDFs for people to be able to share these timelines as I go through it, because I'm adding. And what I would do, Karita, is once I come to the finalization of it, because I'm doing this every much as I can on the Q&A. I go back and add stuff. Like you see, if you saw the last Q&A, I added some things because it's a lot of things to add. I'll just put it that way. And I go through paperwork for other reasons. There's other reasons I'm doing it as well. But I got to go back and add things as I go. So sometimes it may change. When I say change, not change, everything stays the same, but some additions be added to it for dates and things like that. Some things I think is worth putting in, some things not. Some things are more for investigation or some other law enforcement agency. Okay, I'll try to see if there's any more questions, you guys. If you have any more, Michelle. All right, thanks so much for being here. I wanted to come help you on the last search so bad. I have been begging you to do a public search again, and then when you did your last search, I was unable to come because we also suffered a death among one of our closest friends. I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences to you and your family. And I know you said that it was going to be your last search, and I'm brokenhearted by that. Are you sure it's going to be your last search? No, I'm not sure it's going to be my last search. First of all, my condolences to you and your family. And I pray to God give you the strength to go through that, your bereavement. And, sorry to hear that. But no, it's not going to be a not necessarily the last search. I said all of that because of the circumstances of that desert area. The landowners don't want me out there, so they're building a big old. They're building a community out there, so if we keep finding human remains out there, I can almost imagine that got to be difficult for them to accept that whole area out there is a crime scene, a big giant crime scene. It's hard because of millions and millions of dollars put into this thing, and we already know this is a capitalistic society and country, and sometimes money rules. In other words, it comes before family, friends. I mean, people kill each other over money. So, anytime there's money involved, some things just go out the window. They'll do anything to make that money. And so, one of those things is, I guess, to try to end the search for Daniel. He's a human being. He's a person. He's a contributor to society. He's my son. He's this whatever. He's just a human being, and so is all those other people that we found out there in that desert area, and humans, people, no matter who they are, what color, whatever the case may be, or what they've done. They could be a drug dealer or something. I don't know. Wherever case may be, they're human beings, and the thing is, when it comes to money, of course, they're not going to stop, making their money, for somebody to be able to find their loved one in the area they went missing in or whatever. So I feel that way. That's exactly what happened. I've been pushed to a corner. I've been pushed for a while. People don't know the ins and outs of what happens in the background. Only see the public sphere of things, like you guys are sharing you guys about the death threats, as well as those ransom letters and all kind of stuff. Heart hurting and stuff. So you see me on Q&A, and I can smile or laugh finally. And but people don't know what really goes on in the background. The days in and out, dealing with law enforcement too, you name it. And the ins and outs of going through certain things in life when it comes to your missing loved one that you don't share with the public, the ins and outs, things you hear and have to deal with and stuff like that. Just even on my ambassador program, I had a guy literally come on just to tell me to shut up, I guess. So I laughed because of the way the guy went off on me, and he was cussing at me and cussing me out. Like, you guys, and all that I did was had an ambassador program to try to help get flyers out and build an infrastructure for not just Daniel's case, but for other families that come in, through hopefully the Daniel Robinson Foundation to get their flyers out and stuff. And this guy saw the need to take his time out to actually join the ambassador program meeting just to cuss me out. Really shocked the other people that was there. But, I'm just saying, you got people, that's their whole purpose in life, to do stuff like that. So people don't know what you have to actually go through when you put yourself, especially in the public sphere, when it is a lot. Also, thank you again for this question. I'm asking because Gila River is running bad, and found another body just days ago. And, I mean, the Gila River, I went to do a specialized search in that area where that's going over towards the Gila River runs across where that vehicle that looked like Daniel's was found. I'm gonna put that on. I'm gonna add that to the timeline too, you guys. I'm gonna put that picture up so you guys can see what was sent. And it was on social media. But anyway, that vehicle was before it showed up in the desert. Daniel's vehicle. I'm gonna say it this way on purpose because this is what I believe. Daniel's vehicle before it showed up in the desert was out on that area over there near the Gila River. And the Gila River is near where the first well site Daniel went. Supposedly went to first. So yeah, I had some areas over there search for my own personal investigation outside of my investigator, and that led me to these areas to be searched. You guys who've been in my search probably remember this. I had a specialized operation search, I call it. It's from my military days, the wording I wanted to use, and we did a search out in the air twice. And, of course, a second time we found human remains out there as well. And, those things that Buckeye ain't going to put in a report as well. But we found human remains out there. The person who found it, a volunteer, actually picked it up. And I, tell people don't pick that stuff up. But nevertheless, the human remains are found out there as well. So, yeah, I know the Gila River is almost a dumping ground for things that come from up north and come dump off and go down that Gila River. And, yeah. So, sorry to hear that for somebody's family members, yeah, if it's just days ago, I won't hear nothing about it. Buckeye would not mention anything about it to me because they feel like, it's not related to them. But I would think a family who have a missing loved one that went missing in Buckeye, should get some type of briefing on things like you said. You shouldn't have to hear that from the public, general public. It should be from the law enforcement to tell families who have missing loved ones in their city, in their state, or whatever, of newly found remains, so families can be able to get the opportunity to follow up on those things and make sure it's not their loved one, right? So anyway, thank you guys. I really appreciate it, each and every last one of you, and God bless you. And I thank you so much, Michelle, for that information as well. And thank you for keep looking. I really appreciate it. Oh yeah, your animal rescue business, good. That's a wonderful thing too. Take care of the animals. God gave us animals, and we have to take care of them too. But thank you guys. I really appreciate each and every last one of you for being part of this Q&A and being here with me at this length of time, 2 hours and 43 minutes of it. And thank you so much. And I hope you guys come back this evening for this evening Q&A. I will put the information out there. And I have this timeline again. I'll go back over a little faster this time. I may have some little extra things added into it. But I'll get to your questions faster. So you guys be ready for your questions. We have those. Don't forget to put the capital letter Q, the question mark, or the word question for your question. As I come down the comment section, I'll be able to see them. So thank you. I love you guys. Don't forget to keep your prayers for those families who are the missing. Don't forget to pray for my family as well. Keep them in your mind, because I'm telling you, families, we need your prayer. We need your support. And always need your support. Oh, yeah, one last thing I want to put out real quick. The team and I are finalizing those letters that we will have for you guys. And I will say we're going to start off Monday. Before this end of the week here, probably today or tomorrow, most likely tomorrow, because Q&A day. Tomorrow or Friday, we will have these posted up on the PoliceHelpFindDaniel.com website as well. I'll be putting out on social media these PDFs where we're going to flood. This week I'm going to call it flood. I'll come up with a name for you guys. You'll see it, but we're going to be flooding these agencies with these letters, right? And so the thing you guys have to do is come and get those PDFs and print them out, and send them out to. And what we want to do, keep that window. Next week will be that window, you guys, Monday through Friday. Get those letters out between Monday through Friday. I would say Monday through Thursday to make sure these letters don't drop on the weekend. So try to get it out before Wednesday, I'll say, if possible. But the latest Thursday, try to get this window out. I say between Monday and Thursday is the window to get these letters out. And the reason why it's purposefully done, guys, we cannot have letters, coming in at a regular rate, because it defeats the purpose. What we're trying to do is get these letters congested in there. It's almost like a pipe running, and you want that all come out in a rush, right? So definitely look out for that. It'll be coming this week, and I have it posted on the website as well. I'll be talking about on social media, and we'll be able to get those letters out, bulk letters out to these agencies. If you guys want to help, you get your family, your friends to join in with that as well. This is another campaign to get some efforts done in Daniel's case, because guys, I want Daniel's case to move over to the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, FBI, and we're gonna fight for this. And I say we, because you're the family. You guys have been a family since the time I've been searching for Daniel. Like I said, I would have been doing none of those billboards, to flyer distribution, to searches, to living in Arizona, staying in Arizona. I would not have been able to do all of that, if you guys weren't supporting financially, physically, just giving moral support, you name it. And I would not have been doing none of that without you guys. I've been trying. I'm a father, go try hard. But I'm saying, you guys, what I'm saying is none of the things would have been possible without you guys' help. So I definitely need your help on this behalf as well. So please make preparation for that, to reach out to other people as well, your family, your friends. Just tell them, hey, look, you want to print those flyers, those PDFs out yourselves, and hand them to your friends and your family. Say, hey, all I need to do is put this in an envelope and use this address and send it off. As simple as that. Okay? So I want you guys, if you guys can do that for us, I really appreciate it. And I'll be explaining those as we doing this. But thank you guys. God bless you. And I will see you guys this evening, Q&A prime time. Talk to you then. Take care.